Well, another hour or two of this. Oh man, I don't know. This game is suffering a problem with too many casuals. Not casual, not just casual as in they don't take the game seriously, like casuals as in they just not intentionally not playing the game and not contributing to the game, to the match. They're just there trying to play friendly with the opposing team. It is becoming more and more like TF2. And this shit like this is just why. I mean, no, it's a random heroes, it's a mystery heroes match, whatever. But it's just shit like this, man. You guys even playing this game? What the fuck? Mm. And then I play my mistake. Is just, you know what? Even though I'm in a competitive disadvantage, with my computer being kind of old, it doesn't really support 60. Like my monitor, even the game cannot run at over 60 hertz because CPU bottleneck. So it's just too old even for that. Also, my internet's not only I'm playing from New England, my lag is just one of the highest I can endure, but also for some reason this it's either my ISP or my router or my computer or something. I don't know. I'm not sure of. It's just taking off the stability of my connection. So my leg's like about 50 milliseconds. Sometimes it just spikes close to 100 for some reason. So yeah, not only I'm a huge competitive disadvantage, but also, jeez, it's frustrating. I'm quite literally just still considering playing competitive after all that because quick play is becoming way too insufferable. Like never before, the cultural shift inside the game is becoming more and more like TF2, which sucks. And there's not much you can do, even if you report someone. What's the point? It's if the cultural shift is gonna be like that, well, it's gonna be normalized. Yes. I mean, you don't have to be sweaty to play the game, but also just not taking it any seriously at all. It's just come on, it sucks. Mr. Heroes is just whatever. You can just go for one as much as you like, even though most people never do. But even when quick plays normally expect more seriousness on regular quick play. The default quick play. You expect more seriousness and people just still don't. And then okay, I'll just commit the mistake of playing fucking competitive now. I played 3 matches, lost the first two, and won the last one. But man, the second match in specific, just the second fucking match. Well, this one, man, it's just people complain with their mouth full, seriously, outputting a crap ton of healing. A crap ton of healing is just missing. This stupid guy is just overtime, but just we're doing overtime in Dorado, pushing the payload, everybody together besides that guy. And then what the fuck? Just group up, go back here. I had to just try to seek you out. Trying to just use the fucking lifesaver ability to just save your ass all the time because you're just going there all the way there. Just god damn it, just healing. Even still, they complain I didn't heal enough. I decided to go a little more just no, a little more aggro. I mean that's how they say. It's just yep. I'm out of juice. I quite literally cannot hear you guys anymore. Even Life Weaver was not being enough of a healer. I had to pick Moira. Just by how bad this shit had got. Everybody stick together. I heal a ton of stuff. I had a ton of points. But yeah, they still complained because I was out of juice. Just man, it really ruins the whole fucking mood to play the game anymore. So quick play is pointless, and I know competitive is kind of pointless as well. So what do I do about it? I don't know. I seriously don't know. Uh, stop playing the game eventually, yeah, I guess. I was feeling just frustrated when I was playing TF2 and just wondering what the fuck do I play anymore. I don't like any other multiplayer game. Up until Overwatch came out, it is finally something where I can just feel like I've been taken seriously somewhere like this. And then the TF2 players are still complaining over Overwatch. It's just, nah, this game is so gay, it's just some woke bullshit, whatever. But most people playing the game is just taking the game actually seriously. They're not just goofing around, being friendly. But this game culture is just becoming just like a TF2 kind of bullshit. So what do I do? To what other game do I switch? I just don't know. I seriously don't know. What with all that said, it either get just sweaty competitive and get people complaining on you no matter how good of a job you did. And then, well, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I don't know. Sucks. It seriously sucks. And that's the thing. I normally avoid complaining over this shit, over everybody, like little mistakes here and there. I just tend to keep it to myself, but nope. Apparently I cannot be. I should be receiving all the negative stuff instead. I just, well. Oh well, best I can do really is just to vent to the stupid empty wall. And nothing more. But yeah. Oh wait, already? Jesus. That was quick. This sucks. Very first video. VPN. Well, that's how it is. Normally I just only have to use a VPN after I watch for an entire hour. But I guess out of the gate like this. Right out of the gate. And yeah, I've unsubscribed from a couple channels already. Just pissing me off for a while. Just speculative bullshit type of channels. There's some more controversial channels as well, just even though I just tend to focus on the actual content, not on the person behind it. It was getting a little too loud and it was kind of bothering me. So yeah, no need to mention, no need for honorable mentions, I guess, but yeah. I still need to just clean up a little more the clutter, but well.
Inside this box is a Christie CP2230 projector. Brand new, this bad boy was worth about $50,000 US, and that's before any costly 4K or 3D upgrades. But that was 10 years ago, and thanks to the onward march of time, not to mention the slowly dying theater industry, I was able to pick up 2 of these bad boys for a fraction of that price, including shipping from Canada's second most seceded province. But they're just projectors. Why are they so big? Because these projectors are not just a lamp and some color filters inside of a shoebox, like you might see in a home theater setup. These bad boys come with an entire server rack, each that handle the inputs, the power, and to be honest, we don't really know. Which is why we're gonna rip them open, attempt to set them up, and see if we can find use for them. Maybe here, maybe at Whale Land. I'd rather not, sir. Well, because you see, according to the spec sheets, if anyone is within 2 meters of this thing and decides to look at the bulb, they will go blind immediately and permanently. Is this even safe to own? Probably not, which is why I decided not to tell the safety team that we were shooting today. Okay, that's probably fine. As long as you be sure to tell the Which one of these are we opening? Well, we have to open all 3 eventually. Which one do you want to start with? You just what's in I have no idea what's in it. All right, what's in it? Let's start with this one, which probably contains a Christie CP2230, a large format projector that's capable of running screens up to 86 feet with a rated output of 33,000 lumens. For context, the Epson projectors I used to have in my home theater offered up a pretty awesome, bright HDR experience on a 120-inch screen with a 2700 lumens. It was introduced back in 2012, so it is a little bit on the older side, but over the years, Christie offered multiple upgrades to add 3D capabilities and even to increase the resolution from 2K, which is basically 1080p, all the way to 4K. How did I end up with them? Well, TLDR, some jokes from the subreddit noticed an IMAX projector on VidSpotter, and they were like, and we were like, yeah, but we couldn't get that because it turns out you can't sell those, and IMAX actually ended up sending a team to destroy that projector rather than allow some tech YouTuber to buy it. I took that personally. But not every screen in that 15-screen theater was IMAX. So after scrolling past the headless Tintin statues, urinals, and arcade machines, I found that they were offloading all of the other AV gear from the theater as well. So the idea was that with 2 of these, I could finally fulfill my dream of building a stereoscopic 3D gaming experience for Whale Land. I don't think that's gonna work. This would literally melt or shatter any 3D filter. But they have 3D. What does that even mean? It says it'll only do 3D at 30 FPS though. Yeah, but no. Don't make me pull out the thing. That's the lamp one. Well, whatever. The point is it said 60 FPS on the page I showed you. But I thought, no, it was talking about 60 FPS when you put both of them together. So you got 30 each eye. This is my first time looking at it too, buddy. You can't really figure this out together. What does? Oh, did we manage to unbox the one that doesn't have a projector in it? Oh, wait. Oh, this is one of the 3D filters. This sits in front of the projector according to the photos on the auction site. Wait, yes. That's how it works? Yes, that's why our little dinky filters that we had for the 3D at your house would like die. So this has the filters for the left and right eye alternating. Oh, you can actually see the separation between them. Yeah. Oh, that makes so much more sense now. How the hell are we gonna get that to work? We're gonna find out. Was this supposed to come with a termination to something? Did you just cut it from the wall and just put it directly to you?
Maybe a little over our heads here, Elijah.
Lord almighty! Yep. That's one of the filters. Whoa.
What is all this?
I think these were wall mounted, if I remember correctly, in the auction photo.
Drywall anchors?
Wow, they did not. On the pallet.
I mean, they can't be that heavy then.
Oh gosh, sir, hold on. Sorry. What is rattling?
There's screws in here. Okay, so this is just basically glorified switches, as far as I can tell. Nick.
What does that mean?
Oh god, I forgot there's another one of these. Dude, we haven't even gotten to the projectors yet.
Do we want to open these boxes that came with it?
Yeah. I'm afraid to find out what's in my lens. What?
Shadow.
That's how you open the lens, right?
Whoa! Holy crap, these are huge. What do you see, Captain?
Land ahoy!
I wasted any money.
Pallet 1. Pallet 2. What the Sam heck is up with this pallet? Got this little pinner piece right here. Oh, hello. Oh god, it's like...
I know, that's why I'm like...
Whoa,
yeah.
dude, it's so precarious.
I know, that's why I'm over here holding it.
Is that for cooling?
Yes, so in the pictures on the auction site, this was just piped up to the roof, kind of like a laundry chute or like a laundry dryer thing. So I think it's just heat. Raw heat come out. Warning, lamp may explode, causing bodily harm or death. And we said this thing was dangerous.
Yeah, you let the people down.
Yeah, someone's gonna die this video.
What the hell were you thinking?
What told you to say we? You. All right, come on. Up.
That's only the first one. This gives us a better look at it. So up here we've got, oh, so that right there would be my mirror array, I guess then. And then behind it would be, oh my god, like all of this is light source. That's crazy. So this is probably the access hatch for the lamp.
Oh, they're locked. Whoa.
Shut
It's
up.
liquid cool.
Shut up.
Oh my god.
No way. Use Jeff Cool E105. Really? Jeff Cool?
In the movie theater? My name's Jeff.
Oh, dude, they use colder, quick release fittings.
Quick release.
These are the
Oh, really?
Yeah, the brand is colder. Dude, these are like $10, $15 or something like that. Back when I researched them, because I wanted to bring it in
Oh, I'm
NCIS.
glad I didn't cut any corners on a $50,000 projector.
Also, is this a DDC with like an EK Delrin top on it or something?
I was gonna say this looks just like a PC water pump. Like, it does not look like anything custom almost, you know?
So this is a 3-chip DLP, and you've got water cooling. 1, 2, 3 for each of the DLP chips.
Is that all in the same loop? I can't quite see.
Yes, it's all in the same loop, and it's coming over to the single 120mm radiator. So it's not actually a ton of heat. It's just about the concentration of the heat and getting it away from those chips during, I mean, long-term operation, right? If nothing else, this is certainly a fun adventure. Do you want to do this one next?
We can try. Should we spin around for them?
No, oh, yeah.
There's one broken, but I just found some on the floor.
I think we found the key.
Oh, let's hope.
Dude, this feels like a video game. You're just like walking around and you find a random key. I was the door that I couldn't unlock before. Let's go!
All right, what's in here? Oh my lord. Okay, I'm very glad we didn't rip this door off, because if we turned this on without the shielding here, oh, I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
Elijah, I figured out why the projector's so heavy. The entire freaking base is made of milled aluminum.
Oh, it's one piece. Oh my. Holy cow. Is this like a chassis detector?
Yeah.
So we had to keep this closed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, no, we had it closed. I was just going to lock the
Oh, I see.
Close it.
It's the IO. Oh, dude.
DVI, baby.
$15,000 DVI to HDMI converter.
General purpose I/O, serial, 3D sync of some sort, presumably, and it also takes SDI in. I don't know what server port does, but I think I saw something similar over in the server rack. So I'm gonna take a look at that. Oh, what is this? What do you got? Adorable.
Hacking the mainframe.
Some random gigabit switch, pass-through holes with the power on, presumably for this automation controller. So this is gonna be for crap like your curtains and whatnot, I assume.
Oh, buddy. Well, we got a lot of cables back
Where am I
here.
attached to?
Like everything.
Is this a content server? Christie Digital Systems often utilize GDC technology media servers. There's no way that this thing isn't like locked down AF.
I mean, the only way to find out is to boot up, I guess.
Hey Elijah, if you're hoping that this rat's nest would be easy to decipher, I got bad news. This is great, it's labeled.
Yeah.
Also, they just cut everything out of wherever it was.
Was that? Oh, that is the other end. Okay.
The worst part is if this label anything to go by, this is probably the encryption.
Oh, okay. That's annoying.
But then I didn't see anywhere for this to plug into back here, so...
I mean, does that match the projector, though? The answer is yes. It lines up with the port labeled audio AES, which makes sense because this is yes, it lines up with the port labeled audio AES, which makes sense because this is AES out.
You got a spot for me, boys?
Nope.
What? Yeah. VPN is slow. It's very slow.
This gives us a bit of a better look at this machine. Yep, it's a piece of crap. But what it does have is this AJA interface card that I am not super familiar with. IMB interface.
That looks like the same port.
Yeah, it is for the GDC card.
Yeah, okay.
And we have that cable, it wasn't cut off.
Okay, that's good.
Well, we don't have to use this. We can just plug into the HDMI on the projector.
Yeah, but it doesn't like, can I change the input? It doesn't have a remote or anything. So, like, how do I manage my interface?
Try the marriage button. I mean, it's not scary, right? Would you rather the panic button or the marriage button?
We'll go the same eventually.
First one, then the other. Yeah. Another one that wasn't cut off. So here's the GPIO. Okay. Hey, Glenn, you know lenses, right? You ever seen this before? Where what number is that?
Oh.
Okay. Okay. I feel like we're putting...
Oh, that one needs here now.
Was that it? You just put it in the locket? I mean,
That does not seem right at all.
big lens. At this point, I think everything else we're looking at is either the GPIO for that automation controller or just like C13 power cables and RJ45 power cables. Like everything here is standard stuff.
Okay.
I think we've got everything we need other than power for the projector to try this thing out.
Okay, I will work on getting it set up. Do you want me to unbox the second one as well?
I'll just leave it for now.
Okay. Well, stay tuned, kids.
One Christie projector setup later.
Wow, you did this all on your own?
Sort of. I can't take full credit.
I think you mean no.
I actually emailed Christie, and they actually got back to me within about a day. And they emailed me all of the manuals, all of the instructions for this model of projector.
Wow, okay.
They also gave us a huge safety warning. Remember how we opened that lamp at the beginning? We were like, wow, this looks cool.
Yeah, it did look cool.
Yeah, it will kill you if it explodes.
Oh, cool. That makes it even cooler.
It's a xenon bulb, and I'll put footage of what they look like exploding here. But they actually recommended that you wear a full face shield, a ballistic suit, and safety gloves when you're operating it, and we were just like, ooh, it's really not okay. But the good news is I didn't have to go in there in order to get it working. After I emailed Christie, they gave me all the manuals, they then ghosted me. I think that what happened was when they were trying to get me in touch with a Christie certified representative, they all basically were like, I don't want to touch this thing.
Yeah, because it was shipped Lord only knows how, with all those bulbs in it.
Yes.
And has been touched now by us.
Yeah,
But damaged goods, basically.
it was enough for us to get it up and running.
Okay.
Would you like to fire it up?
I would.
Okay. Step one, we have to plug it in. Over there, sir. Step two, we need to go underneath and flip two switches down there. Would you like me to do it with your sword?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yes, that's switch one. And you should hear it pretty soon here. Start firing up.
Wait, I flipped two switches.
Oh, that's probably fine. Hey, it's doing. There we go.
What? Does this thing run like Windows 98?
I'm not really sure what it runs.
That was an old school BIOS.
It's very old, yes. It can take like 15 to 20 minutes to heat up, so it might be a while.
Should I be the one to tell him? The lens is pointing that way, and your projector screen is there.
Yeah, well, this is a movie theater projector. I want a bigger display.
Ah, I see.
And then if it really sucks, maybe we can turn it around.
Only wait, should we fire up the digital cinema server?
It's not actually needed. This is only required for when you have all the licensing to deal with when you are leasing a movie in order to project it in a movie.
Which we don't.
Instead, we're just going to use the DVI to HDMI converter that was thankfully included, and we're just going to hook up a computer to it when we're in a game. Okay, so we got an error. Light change recommended. We acknowledge this error.
Circuit port serial numbers do not match.
It's fine. One of the things that's fine. One of the things we're going to notice about this is it will probably give us an error. We'll clear the error. It'll give us two more. That's why it actually took me so long to get this thing up and running. And we might just have to do a couple more today. It's in working condition. And that's actually what these lights are. At a quick glance, you can see, oh, there's an error. I have to clear. This is just a warning versus we're all good to go.
Oh, our temperatures are all critical. Wait, we'll reboot.
These are all very new errors. So thank you.
Well, I didn't do anything.
Welcome to set. When this actually does turn on, do not stand there, Glenn. One of the things that we determined is while it's not as hot as it was warning us, it will blind you. When I got it booted before, I was probably 10 meters away, and I happened to look back, I saw spots for the rest of the day. So if you're like within 2 meters, you're done.
Don't do that.
No, I did it by accident.
Well, yeah, but don't do it by accident.
Yeah, well, thank you, Captain Hindsight.
It's not even hindsight. We knew that already.
Yeah, but I didn't like think about it. It's just like, oh, it's just a projector, it'll be fine. So now what we should be able to do is we can actually initiate power. Because this isn't on yet.
Right.
This is just kind of getting us to the interface. So we need to hit the power button.
All right.
There we go.
Hey, there's your cooling fans, buddy.
Yes, so now it's really starting here. That blue tape is critical infrastructure. We discovered that it gives an error when it's trying to exhaust, but there's an actual like mechanical thing that's supposed to open and like vent more.
Yeah.
So we just made it vent all the time. So that blue tape is critical for this.
Oh, okay. It's just like holding down the flap.
Yeah, basically. So it's starting DLP and IMB. That has to do with the connection back to this interface. It will fail, which is fine because we don't need it. There's workarounds.
Can we just cancel it?
No, because you still have to let it go through the process. So one moment, please.
I'm starting to come around to the realization that I have purchased e-waste.
Oh yeah, and you bought 2 of them. So now we're finally ready to actually turn on the bulb.
Big moment.
This is the moment where no one is allowed to walk in front of this projector, and this is where you're going to be very disappointed.
Is it on?
Yes.
Oh, you said it was bright.
It is when you look at it, but these things are optimized for being in a pitch black movie theater. Now, there are some things we can do to verify that there is something on the screen. We can go to the test patterns and we can actually display something.
Oh, it is totally working.
Yes. Now, obviously, it looks like we're down to the left right now.
Oh, yeah.
But
We got lens shift, right?
there's a whole bunch of lens shift in here. And obviously, there's all your focus, your zoom, and everything else in here. So
we can just... Ah. Wait, that's as far right as it goes?
what can I tell you, dude? Like, you want this?
Is it meant to sit like way at the back right?
Well, no, it's centered.
Yeah, but I already moved it all the way to the right. Now I'm moving it up.
No, you also gotta remember, this thing is supposed to be mounted like at the top of your movie theater aiming down.
Okay. Zoom though. We have zoom.
Yeah, so you can obviously make it freaking massive.
I can't believe how not that bright it is.
You gotta remember, very old lamp already in here. And one thing Lucas and I did discover, which we can find in the settings again, this is not 33,000 lumens like it claims. It seems to be around the 6,000 to 7,000 lumen mark. And I don't know if that's because of the actual lamp itself,
Right.
or if there's a setting that we're missing that's specifically unlocked by like a Christie certified technician.
Wow, it looks just like an old crappy projector. It's got the flicker and everything. It's pretty bad.
Another thing is, do you want to guess how much power this is drawing?
2,500 watts.
Let's find out, because last time we checked, this was about 4,000 watts. I have to log into the service account, which we found out the password for the service account was service. Oh yeah, so
Oh, intensity, 5,800 lumens.
yeah, so that's roughly what we think the lumen count is. We couldn't actually verify that.
Right. Wow, there's so much that you can do manually. You can move the light. It's and the lens. Oh, I wonder if that's why our default is like way the crap over there. Do auto.
Oh, it's definitely doing something. Oh, whoa.
Hey, it got brighter for a second there.
It actually looks like it's doing something.
Yeah, she got some brightness in her. Well, that's brighter.
It finished and it's at 11,000?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, that definitely looks a lot brighter now. And it's more focused than what you got it to, so.
And it seems to be flickering even more.
Well, check them all.
Okay, what else we got?
Let's put that rainbow test pattern on again. Oh, wow.
Whoa!
That is a lot more vibrant.
Okay, now we're cooking with gas.
Do you like the focus?
Yeah, I couldn't help noticing that it's bang on right here and then off both here and here.
We think we might have an issue with the lens alignments because if you look even in the top left, the light starts to like fade off. So we're not sure if we're missing a piece to help center it or if we just sucked at putting it in, but
I mean, speak for yourself. I got 3 kids. Doing anything on this is horrible. Man,
do you think this is the most you've regretted purchase? No comment.
yeah.
The fire truck was a better investment.
Oh, literally though. We will yield no further content and no further use from these whatsoever.
But hey, maybe if one of you guys wants one, we have 2. Hit us up.
The input lag.
I was just gonna say.
Way better than I expected. Like, extremely usable. Maybe even good.
This is significantly better than I thought.
That's what I'm talking about.
Holy cow, we're so back. Okay, now we just
Okay, I got an idea. What if we fired it through the door in the theater room? And see if we can hit the screen that's in there.
and then anybody who turns around and leaves dies because I can't get out the door.
We'll be fine. We got this.
We're not doing it. Dude, this is freaking ridiculous.
There's kind of a shadow in the top left, and I figured it out. Do not look at the lens, but point the camera toward the lens. You can actually see we shifted the lens so much. Like lens shift is literal lens shift. So there's vignetting because the image is over here. Okay, I think that's as good as getting. Elijah, are you gonna be able to get in here?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I love climbing to my movie theater. I can't tell if it's just because it's room, but it feels warmer in here.
Oh yeah.
Even since we've just started sitting down and playing.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's still not great.
It's not as bad as you thought though now.
No, it's better than it was. It turns out light control is good for projection, so that's cool. Who would have thought it? Unfortunately, even with the increased brightness, movies still aren't gonna pop because it's just too old to support HDR. So it's just bright SDR. It does have like a very filmic, pleasing look though.
Yeah, but is that because of our out of focus?
No, that's
Okay, because like there's still parts right now where we haven't gotten the focus dialed in.
No, this is true, but that's not all of it. In the middle it's focused, so that's the only place I'm looking.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't help that there's not practically a place we can still put this.
Nope, nowhere.
Not your house, not the tech house, not here.
Not even at Whaleland. Well, now we know that. But is there a place? If you guys enjoyed this video, maybe check out some real modern options for projection. They have gotten shockingly good and shockingly affordable at the low to mid end. Like, it's unbelievable. That BenQ absolutely blows the doors off of this old Christie.
It wasn't just a vague feeling, or this video feeling stupid to watch, to the point I was just drifting my thoughts to anything else other than the video itself. Yeah, I was got enough of it. Is I feel stupid. I'm not learning anything. Well, this is the whole live stream. I can skip on that stuff. It's just skins, new skins. If there's a timestamp on this, there isn't. No. Just skip stuff I don't care about. Maybe there's some balance. Oh, okay. New hero, I guess. Pretty much. Okay, whatever. There's a chance I'm just gonna drift around. I just lose focus if it's not interesting enough. Oh well, let's see. You just said never watch those developer streams. If it's too.
Hi everyone, I'm Anita. Welcome to the stream, and I'm joined today by Helen and Annabelle.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Not much.
I'm Robin. I'm a
It
student
feels
at
like they
the
just get
so I have all the menus
distracted
to watch, so that's like all the menus
over and
in
over.
the game. And once you're in the game, it's also the HUD for the heroes, things like your medical, your health bar, your ammo,
It doesn't feel very human, really. It feels too forced up. I don't know. I'll give it a chance. Like sometimes I'm not sure if they're gonna do this again, but some of those streams like glazing on the character's new skin for like 10 minutes straight. Like, how the fuck do you guys even do that?
Watch Season 3 into Tiger Stand, and we'll be covering hero bands, our events, and a deep dive into our newest hero, Shion. So let's get starting stuff. Let's start with hero bands and system updates. Can you walk us through what those updates are?
Yeah, so one of the first things we want to talk about here is hero preferences. So that's currently a system that's existing in our competitive ranked game mode. It's a phase where you can choose your preferred hero and kind of communicate with your teammates like your intention is, which is great because the next phase after that is banning. So it's good information for a team to have, and I think that kind of sets up the goals we have in mind for this update. Where we see some opportunities to bring that forward so it can serve all players. So outside of ranked mode, you'll be able to share your intention of who you want to play. So yeah, I think we have an image here that we can kind of show some, so I can speak to this at a high level. So mainly hero preferences is going to be a tooltip that you can access via most player cards where they're existing in the UI, so you can see there's a few heroes there next to Physique. So here's a video that can kind of, actually, sorry, I misread that. Let's go to the video after this, and I can talk to it in action. So you can see here Robin has 3 heroes next to his player card for a flexible category, and Physique has his own 3 heroes that you first play. You also can access to the top right of the screen, which is great because if you're using the menus, you can peek at this information whenever you want. But let's look at the menu itself. So here I'm clicking on the preferred button there. You can pause here for a second. So we have these tab menus here where you can quickly go through the each role category. You can select up to 3 heroes that you want to set in preferred use. So if you're going to press play here, you can kind of see what that looks like at a glance. So here under tank category, none selected. Yes, as selected. So you can select up to 3. You can have 2, 1. You can leave it empty. It's totally up to you how you want to use this. The main design goals here that we wanted to have for you guys is to make this as easy as possible, not be in your way. So we have it accessible in multiple areas throughout the game. So it's really important for it to be quick and easy to use. So Robin and I went back and forth on this design like 3 or 4 times, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but like a save button or something that we're just like, oh, we want to make sure we're not bugging players about this. So that's just to say, you can save as you go. So feel free to like show the feature and
Way too many heroes at this point.
express themselves and who they actually like to play. Say you're grouping up people you just met and you don't actually really want to. If doesn't like to get into text chat or voice chat to explain what you prefer. This is a way to just represent yourself and say, hey, I only play Doomfist. Don't expect anything else from me. So yeah, you can choose as few heroes you want, and if you don't want to participate in this, you can leave a blank and it'll show us that you have no preference. This also serves as a sort of pseudo streamer mode. So you don't have streamer mode settings for this. If you just don't want to participate, just go in and remove all the heroes for your various roles, and you're deciding what you prefer. So if you're a mercy man, you can hide out heroes that don't bang you out. Yeah, as we could expect from some of our plays. So and if you want to just not click through menus, you do not want to participate. By default, it's going to use your highest level heroes. So it's just going to be your progression level and just choose those highest level heroes. That's that checkbox in the top right of the little slide menu. Yeah, I think we have a video afterwards that can help to show us in context what this looks like when you're queuing up. So here we can see Crazy Pants has DPS claimed. Funky Goblin has no preference, and Robin hasn't ready up yet. So let's see what it looks like for support. Boom, support players or support heroes there. But let's see what it looks like with damage and support. So you can see here ready up again. So we have up to 3 heroes for each role category that you're queuing for. So the reason why this is important is that we want to show that this system is flexible to kind of share your intentions of who you want to play. And when you ready up, that's kind of a signal for us of like, hey, you're queuing up for support, or for multiple roles you want to share, what your intention is to play. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to show heroes that are relevant to what you're actually queuing as. If you have set up flex work, you're not in queue yet. We're just going to show your flex heroes. It doesn't mean you prefer to play flex. It just means what are your top 3 heroes across all categories. And like I said before, you don't even have to select the heroes you're best at. Say you're just wanting to learn how to play a new hero. You could go in and say that you prefer to play this hero. It doesn't have to be, since you have control, it doesn't have to be the heroes that you actually play the most often, unlike what shows up in your career profile. So we got another video. This is actually visible in the pregame. So say you queue up for quick play. You can see now the players on the left side of the screen. You can mouse over them and you can see their preferred heroes. The other thing we added to this means you can right click those players and actually interact with them as you would anywhere else in the game. Right click menus. So you could whisper them. You could go to their career profile so long as it's not private. All that sort of stuff that you expect from our menus like that. So just a nice little quality of life improvement in the pregame here. Yeah, I think one thing if we can, we're still on the same video. One thing I wanted to chime in here too. Yeah, we know we don't have 99,000 seconds to go for a map here, but it's actually great to have this early in the experience here because the next phase where you select hero preferences, you don't really have a lot of time to set this forward. So this is also a nice to have feature. Like if you've already done this map building, you can kind of spend some time thinking about what preferences you want if for any reason that decision has changed. Yeah, so if we can get into the next phase of the pregame, we'll actually be able to see here. So we go into the preferred hero phase. This phase still does exist despite being able to set your preferred heroes outside the match. Reason being, we want you to still be able to change your choice after. But one thing to note here is it auto-selected your top preferred hero for your role there. So in the beginning, I preferred Domina, and I changed it over to Winston after because maybe I looked at my and for some reason I
Because right after that,
yeah, so those are features and like stuff we're adding for preferred heroes. But most of our teams a lot of our thought for these system updates when it's hero
the
bands.
ones who
Yeah, one more thing I want to call out. So notice that we have the same.
you gotta make sure you're not voting for a hero. You don't want someone on your team that wants to get banned.
Like separate system outside of hero preference phase is purely informational to what one thing. It doesn't mean that you have like 3 preferences. Yeah, this phase is who you want to play in this match. Your hero preferences are how you represent yourself in the rest of the
And
plays.
then they want to get banned.
Yeah, so hero bands is a little bit of context. The team spent a lot of time thinking through how to make it seamless and things as possible for users, and part of that is making the UI pretty simplified. But we clearly saw some opportunity for improvement here because we've heard from players that it's not really clear to get to the result stage after this why those heroes were banned. And part of that is we weren't really exposing some of that. So there's going to be some new UI that we're updating to kind of give you more context of what's happening behind the scenes that was previously completed. We're bringing that forward.
All the 3 matches that I played today, all the 3 people just banned Anna. All of the 3. There's a chance they're gonna nerf Anna. Very good chance. Because she's just very flexible. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so we have a video showing everything in action. So you can see here probably the newest piece of UI that you might have seen in the last screenshot is at the top of the team band score. This is like a tally of all the votes across your whole team and who you can expect to show up in the band results. Because before, you have to look at the left side of the screen and do a bunch of math for some reason to try to figure out who's actually going to show up on the band results. So now if you look at the top, Nick and is most likely to get banned right now. So you can see there's a tally of how many votes are being applied for each hero. Maybe we're like 12. There's not 12 people in this lobby. What does that even mean? On the right side, you'll see we actually put like a +7, +5, +3 on your vote slots. This is how much actual score is getting applied for that vote slot. Because our system, unlike many ranked systems out there, we have a ranked choice voting system, which lets you pretty quick. It also makes it more complicated. But yeah, you can see on the right side, you're going to be set like your top vote slot with the most value, whereas your bottom vote slot is only with 3 points. And now you can actually see the math being done. You help players, you shouldn't have to worry about this. This is really just for those screenshots that show up on the internet. Like, why the heck did these bans happen? Hopefully, this gives a little bit more context of why that happened. Yeah, we're browsing right, we're seeing all that feedback. Which actually helps out a lot when we're thinking through like these features. One thing I want to call out here on the left side, again, your preferences available when you're looking at this context, which could be useful if you want to be super strategic about your picks, because you know that if you're potentially get banned, it might be your first pick that inevitably gets picked. So you might want a little bit extra information about teammates, especially if you're like in a 2-stack group and you don't know the other teammates that are on your team. So we thought this was a great way to give you guys enough tools to kind of gather information that you need when you need it, so you can make the right choices and feel more confident about that. Yeah, totally. And speaking of preferred heroes and banning, if we get into our next screenshot, one of the common things we can talk about is, hey, someone else is trying to ban my preferred hero. Specifically in this scenario, someone wants to play Diva, and I want to ban Diva because I'm not, you know. So in this case, you see on the right side screen, it's saying +7 votes is going towards Diva, she's my top ban slot. But at the top of the screen, you see it only says 4 votes are actually going towards Diva. This is running a new feature where it's negative votes getting applied if you vote for someone's preferred hero. And when I say the preferred hero, I just mean the preferred hero for this match, not those top 3 preferred heroes that are it's just really intended to play this match. And the idea is it's a flat value. It's only
Just
once,
a
so multiple
warning.
people protect Diva. It does not help, like the negatives don't stack up. So it's just a flat negative few votes get applied. Hopefully helps to defend some of our mercy players from getting banned out. It also is just we're going to be listening to this. We're willing to, we're able to adjust these numbers. We're listening to feedback. We want you to still be able to ban those heroes if you genuinely don't want to play against them. We want to get just some amount of defense for our players who feel like they're getting targeted for who they like to play. And with that, I think a lot of our visual changes are actually the ban results. So we get into the next screenshot and we'll chase off of that. Yeah. So currently the screen is very simple and it was actually designed that way. But again, we want to bring more context here. So we are adding the lovely band scores that you saw on the previous screen to tally at the top, and we're bringing that, reinforcing that here under each hero. So each hero has the total amount that was voted for. We're also bringing in this timeline bar at the bottom here to give you context of which team each hero belongs to. This kind of goes into some of the things we've been talking about that were previously behind the scenes. We want to expose just enough information without making it overwhelming. So you know which heroes are banned, which teams they belong to, how much they got voted for, and a little bit alluding to the snake draft system that's happening behind the scenes, which I think Robin's going to dive through some of the nuances there. Absolutely. Yeah, we're Gavin has designed all this in chat trying to explain it. If you go to the next video, watch it, you'll see all this action. And if you see another piece of UI variance one. You can see that bar at the bottom is the timeline. It's saying the way that the server actually decided to decide the bans in this order. So you see Malga got banned first because he had the most votes by any individual team, followed by Orisa, which is on the opposite team. That being that this is that snake order happening where since red team got the ban first, the blue team gets to do 2 bans in a row, and then we sneak back to red team at the end. And I know we don't see a lot of bans, I'll get to that in a second, that's why the contentious new thing. But you can see here as well, there's a tank limit reached underneath Orisa. This was a system that existed previously before, it was just completely hidden from players. So sometimes your team would be like, hey, I really want to ban all the tanks, trying to be clever. But we have a limit on how many heroes we can ban per role because we don't want to just ban someone out entirely. Most likely, we don't want to hopefully just crush someone like that. So in this case, since Malga and Orisa got banned, the tank limit got reached and Jetpack was actually chosen, even though there was a tank with higher votes than Jetpack. So hopefully there's a little more explanation of how the ban timeline works. So let's talk about lobby bans, because those are the contentious things, the experimental feature we're going to be adding. So this is a 5th ban slot, but it's shared amongst both teams, meaning both teams have to have wanted this hero to ban because these people dislike me, they're banning Roadhog. So the idea here you can see this combined score, meaning that the votes that are being cast here are coming from both teams, and both teams had to have voted for Roadhog. This ban slot is decided after all the traditional bans happen, and we basically check and say, hey, is there any other hero that just both teams really don't want to see in this match? And it will choose based on the order rules between bids and first later. But if it's going to ignore the role limit, which might also be contentious, and that can allow you to price out a 5th ban slot. And we didn't go with just giving both teams another ban slot because we thought it was a little too much, a little too powerful for now. But obviously, adding more bans, keyboard opinions, we're going to be listening closely to everyone's feedback about this. We're able to adjust the numbers and thresholds of how many votes are required to cause a lobby ban. So for example, today it only takes 10 combined votes to cause a lobby ban to happen. So if you guys think it's showing up too often or too little, we're going to be listening and able to adjust these numbers, and everyone actually also have those numbers to turn it off or do whatever we need to do. And Gavin is listening and ready to react.
Yeah. So I think it's great because like the way we designed this here is like if both teams slightly agree, then we see the lobby ban. I guess that's the hope. And obviously, like as Robin was saying, we'll be listening to feedback so we can let it. And we mentioned the info screen and which we're showing next. There's a screenshot. So where we currently show rank information is a new tab where you can find all about hero bans in even more detail than we're talking about today. So I'm not going to go line by line here. That's way too much to cover, and you're already geeking out about TY. As it is. But that's just to kind of like drive the point home that we know there's some variables that we'll want to potentially tweak because we want to make sure the successful is actually working for you guys. So that's just to say that the screen as we're making changes can be kind of a source of truth because it'll dynamically update as we're making those tweaks. Yeah, we don't expect average players to have to come and reference this before they're able to play competitive. This is really for our power players, our YouTubers have to make their content. People can come in here and break this down and want to really understand why did that happen. So we have more rules here like how ties get broken, stuff like that. But if you're just a normal player, hopefully just go in, put on some heroes you don't want to see in your match and get into the game. Not have to worry too much. But hopefully this helps you trust the system a little bit more and why things are happening. Yeah, I think one thing to note here too is this is going to come shortly after, right? Yeah, so this information screen is going to be coming in the mid-season patch, and we're also going to be iterating on this feature. You're going to see updates within just 2 weeks of the patch launching. So you can expect us to be iterating and improving things and reacting to feedback. Yeah, so I think that's it for the info screen. Now let's maybe take a look at this in game. Video. So we have a video of the game. Just real quick, you can see the lobby ban showing up on there. We have 5 ban slots, and then just to reiterate the preferred heroes. If you go to the scoreboard, you can right click your teammates here and see their preferred heroes. So maybe you're like, hey, what could we actually flex to win this match and react? But you can see here, if you right click the enemies, you don't get to see their preferred heroes. So we don't want to give you more information about who you're fighting, but we do want to give you that extra information of who you're playing with and how you guys can be a good team. Yeah, that's preferred heroes and hero bans. That's all our changes.
That's awesome. This was a phenomenal breakdown on the updates coming. Thank you guys so much for going through all of that. I'm sure it's super helpful. And up next, we have the video that we talked about the events coming this season. So thank you guys so much for being on the stream.
Yes,
and yeah, we'll have the video shortly.
Hey y'all, I'm Simon Ward, and MS3 Overwatch, and I'm going to be walking you through our new event this season, Animal Strike. In this event, you'll complete challenges and explore the maps of Neon Junction, Nearby Hideout, and Hashimoto HQ as you progress through the story and unlock weekly rewards. This event runs across 3 weeks, and you'll be working through milestone, daily, and weekly challenges. While daily and weekly challenges can't be completed outside that day of week, milestone challenges can be completed throughout the entire event. Completing those challenges move you through the nodes in Navi's map, with weekly challenges offering more progress for you to get them on map. As you complete challenges and move through each node, you'll receive rewards. Depending on the node, you'll have the possibility to unlock rewards that tie directly into the event story. But move forward on the map until you reach Oxford, then you'll choose between 2 paths. Once you make your choice is locked in, each path has its own set of unique rewards. Once you finish the current map, you can keep playing on the prestige path, keep running up the
Hold on.
if you complete directly into the event story. But move forward on the map until you reach Oxford, then you'll choose between
What? I did a click for that.
into the event story. You'll move forward on the map until you reach a crossroad. Then you'll choose between 2 paths.
Oh, okay.
Once you make your choice, it's locked in, and each path has its own set of unique rewards.
Man, it's
Once
very
you finish
short
the
though.
current week's map, you can keep playing on the
It
prestige path.
takes
Keep earning
3
extra rewards
weeks
before the
to...
week begins.
Yeah.
If you complete the prestige path before a week is over, you can go back to the map and finish all the nodes. And that's Animal
fair
Strike.
enough.
Now let's look at another event coming this season, Excavation Initiative. This is a season-long event where you unlock loot boxes by winning multiple games each week. Every day, you can complete a win one game challenge. This can only be completed once a day. Completing that daily challenge 3 different times in a week progresses the weekly challenge, which rewards a loot box. You can complete the weekly challenge up to twice a week. Over the course of the season, completing that weekly challenge also contributes to seasonal milestones. Hitting those milestones will unlock additional rewards, including epic and legendary loot boxes. We've also got the community crafted event for you, coming later this season, where Overwatch creators put their own spin on the game. Be sure to look out for it. We really hope you enjoy this season's events.
Those are just shit post. Yeah. Some of them feels like okay, they're taking seriously harder. But a few of tweaks they make is just a shit post tweak. It's just not very helpful. It's just I don't know. It's just yeah.
And we're back, and I'm joined today by
I
Ryan
feel
and
these
Brian.
creators,
Okay,
they
welcome
take-
guys. Can you let us know what you do on
They're very
Overwatch?
careful what they're
Overwatch.
trying to do.
Brian, I'm a sound designer in Overwatch.
Yeah,
Not
and we're talking
always.
today all about Xion, our
Not
newest hero.
always.
So super excited, and I wanted to start with a more artistic
So it
view
never
on Xion. There's a
played
lot to her, and she's also an Omnic, which I'm personally like super stoked about. So yeah, can you walk us
Even
through some
the
of the
fucking
details on
April
Xion's design?
Fools
Yeah, I mean, from her mask to
kind
her
of a
unhuman
deal.
eyes to the way her throat makes when she talks and
Some
laughs.
of the
She
April
knows all
Fool
styles,
stuff
quick
is
fingers.
just more
Who's advocate?
of
Let's
an
look at her select and see
experiment
how
to
it happens to you.
disguise.
She approaches the camera, she stares at you. I feel like she's about to jump out the screen at me. Her irises shift and move. I swear this one gets me every time. She's gonna jump out the screen at me. Yeah, that's Xion.
It's super cool. And for sound design, I hear there's some really cool details that we can talk about today.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff with her. She was a lot of fun bringing her to life. I mean, I have an affinity towards Omnic heroes, with like Zenyatta being my first main when playing the game, and so it was such a pleasure bringing her to life. But yeah, like some of the like her voice processing and stuff, we utilized. We kind of started with the base of like Ramatra's processing, manipulating it a bit to kind of fit her style and the voice actor's voice a bit more and give it some more unique flavor. We even tried messing around with like what if we glitched it a bit, like we had some real-time glitch processing going on. Unfortunately, it kind of like messed with the intelligibility a bit, so we kind of steered away from that. And
Played
made
a
it
little
more clean, kind
bit
of like, it was really fun
on
Omnic feel.
practice
And you
range.
have a video for us too, right?
I do, yes. Excited to show you all that.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah,
it
so
was
thanks for the
designed to be
video,
kind of
guys.
obnoxious type of DPS. Just more hit scan slap per usual. Hit scan slap all the way. Okay, I think the video is over, yeah, whatever. Well, for the first half, I guess it was used. For the second half, it's just new hero this and new hero that. Yeah, it's just like I was saying in the beginning. Some of those live streams, they were like glazing on a hero skin for 10 minutes straight. about the design of the new skin for a specific hero, like what the actual fuck. Yeah. I guess whatever. Duh. Ouch.
Kind of predicted the future a little bit, but I didn't realize how fast things were going to come true. But hey, well, it turns out this is me.
Oh,
Just 10 days ago, I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I'm going to make a tech prediction. I know. Kind of dangerous. Kind of nailed it. I make some effective forward-looking statements, and one of the big forward-looking statements I make is that sometime during 2026, I believed at that point we would see the idea of not token maxing, but token efficiency, like who is using it actually the best. 9 days later, Sam would come out and say, well, it turns out token maxing is actually becoming a huge issue, and companies used to not complain at all, and now all of a sudden they're complaining. Here's effectively his exact quote. He also said that the cost question came up quite suddenly. People were totally happy with the amount they were spending, he said. Now, AI costs are a huge issue. That's what he said. Thank you. I'll be here all night. Welcome back to Slop Live. Today's Slopic, the World Cup situation is insane. As you must be aware, the FIFA World Cup is currently on. And honestly, I think most of the news today is pretty wholesome. Spoiler alert, but these were the results for the games today. Every single game tied. Even New Zealand, and our team usually sucks. Well, the tie that was the biggest upset was Spain against Cape Verde, with Spain being ranked number 3 in the world, and Cape Verde being ranked like 64th. Essentially, Spain were the favourites to win, and because they didn't win, this meant a lot of stupid people lost a lot of money. One person put $1 million on Spain to win, which paid out $80,000 profit. A pretty small profit when you're risking $1 million, but this is a common strategy that people do. Well, his money's gone now. Belgium were also the favourites to win against Egypt. One person put $8.6 million down, which would have paid out $13 million if he won. Well, he didn't. Truly unlucky. Also, Spain not scoring a single goal against Cape Verde was mostly because their goalkeeper saved an insane amount of goals.
I'm
People were so impressed by
serious when I
this
say
that before the game he had
people who
50,000
care
followers on
about
Instagram, and now
should
he has
lose their worth
8.5 million and counting. There
to
was also this
vote.
photo going around of someone who suspiciously looks like Hitler in the crowd.
Seriously.
So it shouldn't surprise anybody that this was just AI generated, but it didn't stop it going viral and being pushed as real around the internet. Japanese fans also went viral for cleaning up all the trash in the stadium after the game against Netherlands. So somebody reversed the footage and posted it saying Japanese fans trashing the Dallas Stadium after their draw with Netherlands. If you don't want any more World Cup slop, just let me know. I know we're all greasy gamers, and this may not be the place for it. Thanks for slopping by.
It's so the Brazilian team is so bad. Even when they tie up as well, people don't give a fuck anymore. Apparently, just gonna tie up with a random team that nobody heard about. Maybe just Morocco's or something like that. Just yeah, tie up. Whatever. Nobody cares. But if the bigger team tied up, like, oh no, it's so bad. No. I don't know, just people who gamble, they deserve to get their money lost, I guess. You can't even blame those people who just host those websites. They just, well, at least not fully. People that cannot complain over those websites, they keep fueling it. Trying to make easy cash. Yeah, they take what they deserve.
Едем из Севастополя в Ростов, ни на одной заправке нету бензина. Приезжайте, туристы, на своих машинах, мы рады вас встретить. Но на чем вы будете
No
уезжать, мы не
gas,
знаем.
no energy, no water.
As a Russian who left Russia, I very vividly remember propaganda videos that Russia released after the start of the Ukraine war, in which Russia was making fun of Europe and basically saying that Europe is not going to freeze to death without Russian gas. Russia said that Europe is not going to have any electricity or heating, but that the great motherland is going to do just fine because we have all the natural resources since the vault. And now 4 years later, things could not be more ironic. Because it's actually Russia, not the West, that is experiencing issues with gas and fuel right now. And it's doing especially obvious in Crimea, which actually has zero gas right now. Ukraine's war warfare is essentially cutting off the occupied peninsula from the rest of Russia. Gas just cannot reach Crimea, and residents essentially have to stand in lines for hours on end just to get a chance to get some gas. And even in a lot of places, the gas is just simply not there. Or if you only get a very small amount according to the new quota. And this point, joint acts in Russia happen so often that this year, Moscow actually has to officially cancel the Russia Day celebration because I guess unlike the recent victory parade, Vladimir Putin was not able to get permission from Zelensky and Trump to conduct his, little celebration. So people are running afraid of Russia in this video. We're going to talk about why Crimea is absolutely cursed right now. And also discuss how exactly Russia, the country that has the most gas and oil in the world, is currently suddenly having problems with gas and oil. So what is actually happening? Why is Crimea such a terrible state right now? Well, because Ukraine essentially has the peninsula locked down. Crimea right now is actually fully dependent on Russian fuel sent from Russia. And Ukraine is making sure that the fuel just cannot reach the destination. Recently, Ukraine has conducted a massive amount of joint attacks, only shipments of fuel from Russia to Crimea. And right now, Russia actually only has one supply route, which is the R218 Novorossiya highway. It's a massive 600 kilometer road that stretches from the Russian city of Rostov on all the way to Crimea and actually passes by occupied territories of Ukraine, like Mariupol, for example. And now this highway is known as the highway of, because Ukraine is drone striking the vehicles that transport fuel to Crimea for this road. But it's not because right now Russian these vehicles, challenge to destroy the side of the road on this highway. It's getting so bad that Crimea got no drivers that just want to do anymore. Because it comes with the risk of, well, technically there are other roads to Crimea from Russia, like for example the infamous Crimea Bridge. Because of these attacks, the bridge is actually not structurally sturdy enough to have trucks go on it. Using the railroads is also not safe because that can get attacked by drones as well. It also appreciates recently that Ukraine has been attacking Russian oil refineries and fuel depots a lot. So all these things together add up to Crimea being absolutely cursed and having no gas whatsoever right now. It's getting so bad that Crimea has announced that the residents are no longer going to be able to buy gas with actual cash. And introduced a new system of fuel rations. Apparently you have to pay to get these rations in the first place, and the amount of them is very limited. And even if you do manage to get one of these rations, one of these papers that actually get gas, each person can only get up to 20 liters of gas. So yes, long story short, Crimea is fully back to the time of the Soviet Union right now. We have to get these special ration vouchers, called talon, to buy literally anything. And yes, right now Crimea, you have a full Soviet experience. You have to use these ration vouchers, and also you have to stand in long lines that spread through kilometers just to get a chance to refuel your car. Now there's all the Russians right now about these massive lines that are forming in the large states of Crimea. People don't have to stand in these lines for like 10 hours. So yes, it's pretty bad. A lot of gas stations just don't have anything. And people actually selling each other away found gas. They're both on the internet, and people are just like rushing there, trying to go inside the peninsula, just trying to find a place to refuel your car and gas and oil. I mean, it's ridiculous. And once again, we're talking about, Russia right here.
country that has the most, oil and gas in the world. And in the situation in the region that they care about so much, he's just laughing later. It actually gets even worse, because not only did they reduce the quota from 20 liters per day per person to 20 liters per week per person, but also introduced a new system of QR codes which you can also use to buy gas in Crimea. However, if you want to get one of these QR codes and if you want to get a chance to buy some gas, you can only do it with the new Russian state messenger app, Mass. Yes, seriously. If you guys have been on my channel, you probably know about this, but Russia right now is going to insane way with its censorship, pretty much banned like all Western social media, and also banned messenger apps, for example, banned Viber, WhatsApp, banned Telegram recently as well. And the reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to push a new Russian state messenger on people called Messenger Mass. It's like a terrible app that everybody hates. It's basically like spyware on your phone. The Russian government is able to see every picture of one of these people hate it. People not install it. It's like a process way about it, right? And yes, in Crimea, the Russian claims to care about once again. People who are in terrible situation cannot get a chance to buy gas unless they download Messenger Mass. So people are actually so desperate that the QR codes were sold out in the span of 2 hours. So you're an incredible life in Putin's Russia. It can be a terrible situation under siege essentially, right? And they're more concerned about spying on you and making you install a shitty app instead of actually caring about providing fuel and gas for people. It really is incredible. On this channel, let's talk about this Russian censorship. So yeah, the situation isn't great. You have to sign up to a spyware app to get some gas. Even though the gas you can actually get is terrible because actual good gas with octane rates of 95 is only available for communal and social transport. So regular people cannot even get actual good quality gas. It's really so bad that people are now reselling gas for like ridiculous prices on like Avito, like Russian Craigslist, whatever, online marketplace. You get selling 20 liters for 6,000 rubles because gas shortages and restrictions on the amount of gas you can buy actually being implemented all over Russia right now. For example, Russian news actually reporting that both St. Petersburg and Moscow are currently experiencing restrictions on the amount of gas you can buy. For example, Moscow will only sell 100 liters of gas. And once again, it's so bad because Ukraine has been heavily fighting Russian oil refineries. And once again, it's so bad that Russia now has to get its gas from Belarus. Recently, Russia refineries gas Russia from Belarus increased 26 times. So yeah, what can I say? Once again, base Lukashenko do nothing and win. That's Lukashenko's entire policy at this point. He just does nothing and he just cannot stop winning. Also, Russia has been reporting that the shortage of gas in Crimea also goes buying, for example, groceries. People start going out and buying groceries because they believe that could be cut off soon. And videos going around now on Telegram and social media like VK, where people live in Crimea post videos of how people in Crimea start going to grocery stores and mass bulk buying sugar, buckwheat, salt, and like flour and other like basic necessities, basic groceries that Russia likes to stock up on. I guess when they feel like the world is ending or something. Not just Russians, they say like a ubiquitous post thing to do. We love our buckwheat, But here's a video from Sevastopol in Crimea. Here's the sign saying, dear customers, socially important goods are only sold at limited points. And they say that sugar, buckwheat, and rice will be sold only up to 3 kilograms per one person. Thank you for your understanding. So yeah, some stores have issues with stock for a short amount of time, and some stores will buy all the sugar apparently stuff like that. As we see in this video, for example. These are the posts from all these VK groups called Crimea. Here they post a video like, just shells, which seems like kind of normal to me more or less, right? But Pedro Rodan saying, but the cheap buckwheat has not all been bought out yet. You also have Austrian buckwheat. So there's normal sugar, only sugar in like cubes. Only one side of salt is left. There's only good quality salt left because nobody has bought that out fully. The shopkeepers are joking to each other about people buying out buckwheat and sugar. In Ethiopia, there's no banning. Everybody's acting normally in the store, so thank you everybody for being human beings, basically. So yeah, it seems like obviously the situation isn't terrible. I'm not trying to say that Crimea has no food right now. It's about to have no food. There's no food shortage. It's just that the gas is disappearing. Kind of giving people a bad sign. Some of the Russians buy the groceries they can, but still can, right? But just the fact that this stuff is being posted in the first place, right? And people are talking about this does definitely show that there's a bit of panic and there's a bit of concern within the people about possibly food being dumped on the shelves. So it's getting pretty ridiculous.
Смотрите, дистанция еще определенно надо. Ситуация с сахаром мукой. Вот такая. Все есть. Все в наличии. Надо сохраниться. Очень быстрее.
So yeah, people like reporting videos saying, look guys, stores actually do have groceries, you should not panic, but some people are still panicking and going online buying a lot of stuff just in case, which again guys, great success. Russian Putin's best president of all. This is exactly what 25 years of Putin's fight against looks like. Point. So yeah, the situation is not great, so you guys might be wondering how the Russian government is reacting to all this. And Vladimir Putin as always has not reacted to it whatsoever and did not talk about it at all. Because in this situation when shit actually hits the fan, Putin likes to basically disappear from the public eye for a while and just let his lackeys and the so-called good boyers take the blame while he's out there somewhere in his bunker just chilling. And actually so far the closest person to Putin that has commented on the situation is the official press secretary of the president, Dmitry Peskov. He was actually asked about the situation in Crimea by some journalists and this is what he said.
Продолжение вопроса коллеги про Крым по поводу поставок топлива. Все-таки там уже долгое время ограничено продажа бензина. Планируете сейчас ограничение продажи
The man is based on a man who's dead inside, bro. I swear to God, man. I don't like this quote, but like, it's really just as much of a hostage as anybody is in this situation, but fuck him either way,
Вот видите, в Крыму угрозу топливных кризисов и изоляция Московича.
Принимаются меры для того, чтобы об этом не приходилось говорить. Работают наши Минэнерго. В настоящий момент действительно определенные проблемы есть и разрабатываются комплекс мер для того, чтобы эту ситуацию исправить.
That's why. This is once again a face of a man who knows he's bullshit. I already said this in the previous video on Peskov. The guy has not said a single thing that was true in the last 15 years, okay? And he says this shit all the time. We are taking measures, we are doing things, but they never actually say what measures they're going to take, and they never do take the measures to fix things. They just keep getting worse and deteriorate. And yes, Putin himself has not said anything about the situation in Crimea. The head of Crimea has said he talks to Vladimir Putin, and apparently the problem with the deficit of fuel in Crimea is under the personal control of President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, who was given the orders for its resolution. And that is great. Once again, Crimea is this place that Vladimir Putin wanted really badly, wants to be in history books for, taking it back for Russia, right? And now his most favorite region that he destroyed our country for, right? He made our country a pariah that's sanctioning, hated all the world just for this piece of land that Russians could visit visa-free previously anyway. It's not like those restrictions there. Now when shit hits the fan, this piece of land is especially under siege and has no fuel, no oil. The biggest single President Vladimir Putin's response is to simply just disappear and hide in a little corner and wait for the situation to sort itself out, as he always did in his entire presidential life. And wait, and also obviously, you know things about Crimea. You know it's a very beautiful place, have the Black Sea there, right? The beautiful coast and everything. It's always been a very popular place for vacations, resorts and so on, right? The Soviet Union and Ukraine, and right now in Russian control as well, right? And you know, this year kind of looks like tourism in Crimea might be a little bit cursed. I think you have to be a special kind of stupid in the first place to go to Crimea for vacation, do like a full-on military conflict between Russia and Ukraine. You know, that's kind of dumb in my opinion, but apparently that's people that are going. And usually people come to Crimea by car, and apparently there's a lot of people right now that are stuck in Crimea because they cannot leave, because they cannot get enough gas to go. Nothing. It's a tattoo holiday. So yes, this is much to say Russia right now. This is how much the Ukrainians don't expect fucking things out for Russia. And again, I think something that pretty much unprecedented. For example, yesterday's argument today was Russia Day, the 12th of June, and Russia actually was supposed to have like a big concert right on the Red Square in Moscow, but like Shaman was supposed to perform stuff like that. So people saying right now, by the way, it's like this homeland art, kind of the ugly recently check it out. So yeah, so it's supposed to be this huge celebration on the Red Square that Russia has thrown every single year since 2003, but this year it got cancelled for some reason. The Russian media has reported that the concert will be moved to another location, located like on the outskirts of Moscow, and also apparently all the stars, you know, all the legends of Russian propaganda music that was supposed to be this concert, apparently no longer come. And it's funny because they canceled the concert at the Red Square, and they said they moved it to another place that actually Russian used about the concert that didn't happen instead of this one, and it's like funny. I don't know what's going on. It's almost like it's two in Paris, or maybe the concert just ended up not happening whatsoever. I mean, I do not know. But either way, it's insane. People are already joking how the victory they in Russia, but this year only happened because Trump and Zelensky let it happen, right? And I guess we're now seeing more evidence that that was actually the case. That was just the truth. It's really happening as well even in very deep Russia. For example, the region of Tatarstan, the city of Nizhny Khansk has also canceled the events for the Russian Day celebration because the Ukrainian drone attacks and because an oil refinery was hit. So yeah, it's not just Moscow. At this point, like pretty much nowhere in Russia is safe. And you know, once again, that changes everything. And the Russian once again, it's something I'm never expected to see in my lifetime. But you know, this is the great success of Vladimir Putin. This is invisible. Nobody else could have done it this way. Man. Anyways, guys, this is going to be pretty much today's video though. I feel like I just have to talk about this because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's once again a generational oral loss of Vladimir Putin. It's a generational fall off that we're seeing right now. So I just have to document it, I guess. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, just slap the like button on it. What's the link in the description? Become a YouTube channel member. Also, buy some buying coffee. Yeah, people, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Mm. The NDA framework. NDA framework, or whatever. Just like that. Prom. Yeah, well, unlucky. Which is, sucks. Unlucky. I guess that's, I don't know, it sucks. Like when you play a shitty game, you just, I don't know what, let's just friend slop through the whole game. And then the developers get away with it because they produce some turbo slop put up because people are just okay with that because they're just memeing about it. They just make a franchise out of that and make them pay so much for that, no matter how trash it stays. Just apply the same logic to a literal country. You just, nah, I can cope with that. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Just throw the country to the gutter. It's just funny. I'm laughing with my friends here. It's very funny. Just turn the game into a friends lap type of game that is so trash you can only tolerate it if you play with other people. Yep, great stuff. And then nothing gets solved. No. Turn to franchise. Publish more games on that. It somehow keeps getting worse. It's more of a downgrade from the past entries. Insufferable.
It was only a matter of time before someone used the new strict Halo, made a Max Studio clone, and here it is dealing with it. This is now the 4th Ryzen AI Plus Max 395 main computer that
No. Just skip to the price. I don't care.
unboxed. There's a framework, there's the Ace Magic, and then there was the rival, and everyone has had its own spin on its Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to today's episode of Fucking Your Host, Ross. Today we're talking about something really bothers me companies like Anthropic. This is many more brands than it is to be specific on consumer rights. It's just a brand, because I'm simply how business in this way, and I wanted to talk about why it bothers me and why I don't think it's in the benefit long term. Not that any of these companies are thinking long term. So I use Cloud Code for a number of different things. Some stuff is actually, as I said in some previous videos, there were files that we had data recovery on were corrupted, and literally I have $20,000 of hardware in one box at the store. I have many expensive pieces of software in my store. Not a single one of these pieces of software even got close to being able to recover a file that's sort of the same fuck that made it. And I was going to make this really crazy loop with Cloud Code. You generate research in the back end, and stuff automatically to actually figure out what was wrong with the file and get somebody back a voice memo of a data person that which is great. I've been able to use this to actually help me in my business do real things usefully, not just use it for fucking flat cameras spying on people, making AI music and AI videos. Stuff like that actually help people, and it's useful. And the reason I use Cloud Code for this is I tried to AI codex in 2 months. I couldn't recreate what Cloud Code was doing in 4 hours. The open source AIs, I use Mistral for classifying my email. Something like that, yeah. But for a lot of things I'm doing right now, it just doesn't work. And AI is one of those things, it's not a processor where Celeron will do the same things that Core i7 can do, which is a lot slower. It's one of those things where the open source models often just give me the wrong answer. And it's not like a slower processor where it's more annoying to use it. It's one of those things where the right answer is worth everything to me, and the wrong answer is worth literally nothing to me. So while I can use open source model for shit where I want privacy, like I want you to do all my emails and text them and classify them and publish them easier. I don't want someone coming to read my shit without taking a little bit of accuracy. I'm trying to build things like this. It really is useful. Passive always accurate always works. The problem is that Anthropic knows the tools are pretty damn good at certain things, and as a result of it, they start acting like drug dealers. And they're doing something that I talked about with top administration. You have to go with tariffs, where when you make the business environment so uncertain, people just they give up and they stop using your shit. And I wonder if that is ever going to get to a point where that happens when it comes to So what I'm talking about with Anthropic. A few months ago, I talked about how we had a file called Hermes.md inside of your session. They were going to bill you more money, and it was millions they were working on. They didn't say, hey, by the way, we've changed our rules. Just so you know, if you have a Hermes.md file inside your session, we are now going to bill you more money. So give you a little bit of background on how billing works with a lot of AI infrastructure systems. I'm going to compare pizza. Imagine a pizza pie is $18. Now imagine for that same pizza pie, we get 12 slices of pizza for $18. Imagine if each slice of pizza individually for $5. If you want to buy the slice, a pie of pizza would cost you $6. Whereas if you want to buy the entire pie, same amount of pizza, $18. Think of like quantity discount. It's always cheaper to buy pie pizza than it is to buy the individual slices over and over again. And same thing is true when it comes to all these AI plans. If you look at Anthropic's website, you'll see that they have plans that are like $100 a month, $20 a month, $25 a month around there. Here, take a little bit, depending on what you want to use. So I bought one of the plans with the idea that I'm going to use this and see what I can use it for. I'm going to use it to do things like file recovery and other projects as I see fit, and it does a great job. API billing is kind of like buying individual slices of pizza. It's much more expensive. You pay as you go instead of paying upfront, but you do pay at the answer. Now, one of the things they did recently is if you have Hermes.md file in your session, they started billing you on something called extra use. So let's say I go over and I use $220 users. I have the option to now pay a much higher rate per query than I would be paying to pay for individual slices of pizza, but I can keep going with my session without having to stop and wait for later from another reason. The problem with this is that they were not fucking telling people they were doing this. They didn't say we changed the rules. We're going to use extra use billing every time you do this because they came out and said, I'm sorry, after there was a big backlash over that, people had to refund that. And now they're trying to do that in a different way, and have a very shitty way of explaining it to people. So there are different ways to use Cloud Code. I'm going to go through this as if somebody doesn't really use these systems because I have the average person in my audience while being very technically savvy, wants nothing to do with these systems and won't use them which understand. So there are different ways you can use Cloud Code. One of the ways you can use Cloud Code is inside of the Cloud Code program. So I can go, what is 2 plus 2? This is inside a program called Cloud Code in my terminal, and then it says equals 4. Next way I use it is in my actual terminal without programs. So this is the external thing called Claude-P. What is 2 plus 2? Now I'm not running a program inside my terminal, but I'm building it from my terminal. Being able to use Claude-P inside a terminal means that I can script that's already doing something else that then asks Claude a question, gets an answer, and then uses that for the next part of the script, which allows me a much greater degree of flexibility in what I can do than I'm just working inside of the Cloud program. Now I may build my system differently if I know that a few months from now we're going to do a rumble and reduce my usage by 80 to 90% when I do things the second way. Now here's what they did recently. They put out a Twitter message that makes it sound like what they're doing is offering you credit as a non-programmer. When I read this Twitter message, I thought, oh look, they're giving me credit. I don't need no credit. I barely use my full plan as this. I'm good. Thanks for offering me credit. That's not what it actually means. What that meant is, by the way, when you use Claude-P, that's no longer going to take from your normal billing at a new programmatic rate, which is similar to what you would be paying if you use the API plan. So now your Claude Max plan, which used to be about $200 a month for use, is actually going to give me like $3 or $20 for use. But we're giving this little credit to make up for the fact we take 90% of everything away. That's what the Twitter message actually meant. Now I still had not realized that Anthropic was just a gaslighting bullshit company at that point. So I didn't realize that every single one of my fucking scripts that I've already made that uses Claude-P for what works. All the shit I'm working on for the past 6 fucking months will have to be redone because I would be losing 85 to 90% of my capacity as a result of this change. So I spent the entire weekend, as my friend tells me about this, redoing the entire fucking infrastructure for my project so that they can get it so it'll still work and still be able to do things without paying 10 or 30 times as much money as I would before. And then I get this email the day of, oh, JK, we're gonna put that off. Sorry about that. Yeah, never mind. I'm sitting there steaming like, you motherfuckers. Now the reason that I use Cloud Code instead of the other ones, as I said earlier in other videos, when I use an open source model, it will give me an answer. Not the right answer, but it's kind of like searching for. When I use Cloud Code, it makes mistakes, but it very often gives me the exact fucking answer and builds something really cool, which is why it's very useful. I tried building AI codex, built prompts, all different types of shit, different prompt engineering stuff, 2 months. It was not able to create a script that Cloud Code was able to make in a fucking day. It's
Cloud code is pretty good. However, is it worth it to invest in a system when the person that you're dealing with acts like this? Have you ever had a relationship partner in the past? You just never know when you wake up that day whether they love you or they hate you, or one day they're literally breaking into your house using a key that you didn't even know that you showed them the location of to get into your house, to clean everything up just to show you how much they love you, only for the next day for them to say, I resent and hate the fact that you think I should have to clean for you when you didn't even ask them to, and they literally broke into your house to do it. Have you ever done it with somebody who you just never know? It's always hot and cold and you're just scared, there's no consistency whatsoever. That's what Anthropic and these companies seem to be like as business partners. And that was one of the problems that I had when I was talking about the tariff situation earlier in the year. Regardless of what you think of Trump's tariffs or how they worked out, one of the things I was saying is that when I see in the news, okay, 50% tariff. Tomorrow, okay, there's a tweet, 100% tariff. Tomorrow, never mind, it's down 40%. What I think at that point is I am scared shitless of buying a product that used to be $110, and tomorrow that product costing me $210 or $230 when I sell this product to my customers at $200. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with going from having a profit margin of 50 to 70% to having a profit margin of negative 30% based on a tweet. That is very risky to me. So even if there's a great opportunity to make money there, what business people do is they start to walk away. As the other computer guys said in many videos, and I agree with them, businesses don't need a great regulatory environment, they need a consistent. They don't need the lowest taxes, they need consistent ones. One of the reasons that I left New York City was not because the taxes were high. This is a common misconception. Moving from one place to another for 8 or 10% taxes is ridiculous. I have a building customer base. 8.5 million people in New York, 600,000 a year. I would never move for that. It's when you audit me, and within the 2 or 3 years of the audit, you can't tell me what my tax rate is supposed to be. You can't tell me what the rules actually are. Because when I don't know what the rules are, and you can't tell me what the rules are, that's when you think that, by the way, let's go over $1 million in back taxes, and your company has less than $200,000 in back. I can't work with that. Business people can't work with that. I can't be in a relationship with somebody when today you are in love with me and literally breaking into my house using a spare key that I didn't even think you knew existed to clean everything, and then the next day saying you resent and dislike me and are really angry at me at the fact that I have these expectations of you that I didn't even know that you knew my house. The issue here is simple. I think that Anthropic is acting like the super senior, and many of these ad companies, in my opinion, are acting like the super senior in Susan Wagner High School that would be sitting at the last stall in the bathroom ready to sell Newports for free to the freshman. Here's 5 packs of Newports for free, and then once you're addicted to Newports, so now it's $5, now it's $10, now it's $20 back. Oh, you can do it. Oh, you can order. You can't order nicotine patches because you're a minor. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the deli and buy? Oh, you can't because you're a minor. $20, kid. And that's what they're doing here. And this is what really annoys me is that if they had simply said up front, hey, by the way, we're making this radical fucking change rather than hiding it behind one of these really just can anybody read this message and tell me that they get the idea from it that you're getting a fucking down rate? Anthropic has done this thing consistently, and many ad companies have, where they really want to get you hooked on the crack, and then they want to find all these sneaky ways to stick it in later. And that's not something that you do if you're a company that is offering a great product to begin. I don't have to do sneaky shit to get people to utilize me for data recovery or repair services. I don't have to use sneaky clickbait titles like you won't believe what happens next to get you to watch my YouTube. My titles are usually very boring, very scripted. My thumbnails are either usually a few words saying listen to the video, or just a random picture of me from the video because I'm too lazy to make thumbnails all the time. I don't have to do tricky shit to get people to watch my content because it just kind of stand on its own. And I think that this is something that's going to start backfiring on some of these AI companies because the way that I saw that this weekend, my thought process was even though Codex was not able to make me the tool in 2 months, that Anthropic's Cloud Code was able to make me in 1 day, even though it wasn't capable of it. I still thought in my head maybe I should switch back to the other one, not because they're more better, because they're but because I'm not able to do business with a partner that's constantly changing shit on Will. I literally wasted my entire fucking weekend changing all these different projects I had going on, from using Claude-P to using different workflows inside of Cloud Code. When I wasted all that time on that shit because I didn't anticipate you were going to change shit like that. That really gets me thinking. I would actually be willing to use a worse product if it simply means that I don't have those types of heart attacks of, oh my god, in a few days all of my shit is going to stop working unless I pay you 10 times more money. Because while people really like having good products, they also dislike being held hostage. And here's just another example if you want to see an example of what I'm talking about when I say that they are trying to hook people like crack dealers. So I'm going to give you an example here. I did a test here just to figure out if this was the case. We're going to do a test and figure out what they're doing with gift accounts. So on the screen is what you get with a standard Cloud Code account. I'm going to show you one term. This is a standard Cloud Code account. You have a current session limit, then you have also a weekly limit. So you have a limit for how much you can do in a session, and then you have a limit for what you're allowed to do in a week. Now let me show you what they have on gift accounts. Gift accounts cost just as much as normal accounts. This is the gift account. What do you notice with the gift account? You have a session limit, but there is no weekly limit. So they're purposely making the gift accounts have different limits than the normal accounts, hoping they can get you hooked and go, wow, look how much usage I have. And then when you sign up, you hit your limit faster. And it's like, oh shit, that's not what I thought I was getting. Oh, did they make it obvious in their marketing materials that's what they're doing? No. Does the super senior tell you that the only reason he's giving you the first pack for free is because he knows that nicotine is going to be highly addictive in your life? No, I don't see a difference here. I checked a few months later to see how this is working out, and I got another gift account just to test my theory because I wanted to show this to other people and see what's going on. Now, a few months later, they changed it so that gift accounts right before the IPO now have a limit that is the same as normal. So this is the second gift account that was done a few months later. Currently, all models you not only have a session limit, you also have a weekly limit as well. So a few months before they were talking about an IPO, they made the gift accounts have a higher limit than the normal accounts, hoping that people would get hooked. And then when it's time to IPO and actually start showing books and start to make money, that's when they start slowly clawing back. And just like the Hermes thing, just like the Twitter message that was written in a very cryptic way, they don't write it in a way where it is obvious that that is what they're doing. But when you take a look at every single one of these actions, not just individually, but in context with all the other actions, you'll notice they act very similarly to the person in high school is doing their best to get the kids hooked on cigarettes, knowing that they're going to come back later, even if they're losing a little money in the here and now. And I don't think it's a respectable business model. And I honestly think this is a business model that's going to backfire on many of these companies because even if you do have the best product at the time, I'll put it out there, try a bunch of these products. Shit company that's pretty fucking good models. Even if you have a good product at the time, a lot of people who are much smarter than I, who are much better at figuring out how to rework things and make things scripts work and everything like that, are probably going to look at this and go, I don't feel like getting dicked around all the time. You know what? I want to read a really cryptic message that's difficult to decipher that tells me that I'm going to change my entire workflow, but it's not even being direct about it, so I'm only going to figure it out when my workflow stops working. I don't want the existence of a file in my project to dictate that my credit card is now going to get surprise charges on it that I wasn't even aware of. I don't want to sample a plan and then realize that when I start paying for the plan, I have a lower limit than I did before. That I'll only be able to figure out if I was a fucking investigator report. I don't even know how to have that type of analogy to my business because I've always said that with my company, I try to make the thing that bothers me about what a lot of other companies do is that they'll take part in practices that I would never even imagine doing to my own customers. It's not even in the open window, something I would think about even when my company is doing its worst. Because my company has, in the last year, I've been at a point where I had my payroll down and I had to do massive changes to everything and massive rework to make things work the way they did. And even when I'm at the ultimate rock bottom, I don't even know what the analogy would be with a repair and data recovery companies what they're doing. But that whole idea of I'm going to figure out a way to like sneakily give people less shit over time and not tell them and have these weaselly ways of wording it are things that just never enter my mind when I think about the things that I need to do to make a company financially viable and work. But these people do it with a smile on their face. I'm very curious. People who are actually building workflows and tools and things that are actually useful to their life, not making AI slop YouTube videos, not coming up with new inventive ways to spy on your customers. The people who are actually building shit that allows me to uncorrupt a file from somebody who's crying over the fact that they lost their dead grandmother's last voice memo of something from the war. For people who are using it to build really cool shit, are you looking at things like this and saying, I don't even care how good this is? I just don't want to do business with a company that is like that horrible ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. Where every day that I wake up, I know I'm in for a new adventure, a new argument, a new pile of misery, a new she literally broke into my house using a key that I never showed her existed to clean up everything, and the next day started yelling and screaming at me saying I can't believe you made me clean. I'm just looking and going. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That's it today. As always, hope you learned something. Sorry for this video being a rambly rant. I really don't have the time to edit it, and my head is just not in a place to be able to make a well-orchestrated, organized video, but I just wanted to get this point out anyway, because this business model is just something I'm really getting sick and tired. For some reason, we all look down with scorn on the high school super senior trying to get freshmen hooked on crack. But we don't, but like this is a $1 trillion IPO. See you next one. I really think about my energy like a battery. Now, a lot of us, when we feel tired, we will take a break, right? Oh my god, I can't work anymore. Now I have to take a break. Once I take a break, I'm kind of like vegging out for a little bit. Like my mind gets kind of numb. A 30-minute break ends up being an hour, 2 hours, and then I come back to work and I'm even more exhausted. As I go throughout my day, I really pay attention to what really drains my energy. So the top of the list is caffeine. So caffeine does not give you energy. All it does is block your sensation of tiredness. So I'm going to drink a cup of coffee at 4 p.m. because I have all this work to do. This is important to understand. Caffeine doesn't give you energy. It is a loan against future energy. Another good example is the way that we take breaks. So I just sort of noticed that when I would take a break, unless I pull out my cell phone, or I browse Reddit for 15 minutes because I can't focus on the paper I'm reading or whatever. But I noticed that there's a lot of stuff I do in my breaks that actually drains me more. You get into this cycle that's like, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to browse on my phone for an hour, but then you don't feel like refreshed and rejuvenated when you go back to work. The purpose of taking a break is to recharge your energy levels so that you can work more efficiently. Instead, we've got this combination of doom scrolling and caffeine, which is depleting my energy, allowing me to finish this work, but it's sort of leaving me completely in tatters at the end of the day.
Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Internet. This woman went to McDonald's to apply for a job.
Hey, I noticed that you guys have a hiring sign outside. Are you guys still hiring?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, do you guys hire felons? No. You don't hire felons?
No.
I mean, it's been a long time ago.
God damn it.
How long ago?
You want me to tell you what I did? I am a convicted felon.
Yeah, can you tell me what you did?
Yeah, I robbed some McDonald's.
Alright.
Go! Go!
Brewster.
This dog's job is to collect the batter's baseball bat from the field.
Y'all got skills. What are you gonna do about it?
We will try our best.
The fuck?
So I just came from the dentist, and I can't blink. I have to manually blink right here. And it's so funny that I can't say words, this letter. So I'm trying to say whatever that is.
Yeah.
Oh my god. A shade, honey.
Wait, what?
Oh my god. A shade, honey.
It's a good job he wasn't locked in.
Damn it, bro. What the fuck?
This busker was playing music out on the street, so this cellist decided to join in. If rubbing one bald head brings you luck, what happens when you rub three?
Can I ask you a question? Can I rub your head for good luck? Thank you. Can I rub your head for good luck?
Oh my god.
Can I rub your head for good luck? Thank you. Rub your head for good luck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
The fuck?
This diver swimming through this bloom of thimble jellyfish is my favorite clip from this episode.
Go. Oh my gosh, he went down under.
Is this the coolest entrance a monkey has ever made?
Look at her. Oh my Jesus, it up. Oh my God.
Okay.
This bird stood up against a huge farm machine to protect her eggs.
Hey guys, my brother just mixed every soda on this machine, and look what combination he's made. Bro, you're gonna get diabetes.
You mean PPBD?
What?
So I guess the Great Wall of China is actually really steep.
I think I just discovered a hidden talent. Let me know if this is good. It's niche. It's niche. I don't know if many people can do this.
This reminds me of something I saw on a TV show once.
Our bikes are locked. It's 400 yen to get them out. We don't have any cash. Mike wants to go back to just get our card from the hotel, like an hour run away, maybe. Less? 45 minutes? Yeah. I think we dance.
That's not bad. To go about it.
Guys, we did it. We can get our bikes back.
So how come he's not crying?
The fountains you can drink out of, they're clean. Aren't you meant to put your finger on the bottom?
Yeah, I'm showing.
Oh, you're going. Oh, Jay!
Sorry. No problem.
The sea slug floats on top of the water surface by trapping air for buoyancy. He chose a poor time to lie down.
아니 야 아니 니 미쳤냐? 아니 쟤 개또라이네. 마 나가라 빨리. 나가.
This guy created tunnel vision goggles so that he could avoid looking at ads and other screens in public.
Bro. The worst ad blocker invented.
This kid had a photo shoot for a Bluey toy, and this was his first time seeing it.
I need you to go to that box over there, and then you're gonna turn it around.
This one?
Yeah, no, this one right here.
Here?
Yeah, now look at the back of the box.
Okay. Hey.
Who's on the box? Who's that on the box?
Colin in Michigan.
Jeez.
This guy sounds just like a TIE fighter.
Oh, it's a TIE fighter.
It's a little bit, I'll be honest with you, that's the branch that I used to pull myself up.
But
I might be enjoying this view for a while.
One of my subscribers sent me this video of them doing this crazy trick shot.
Spin. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I did it!
You don't like egg.
This guy is super strong.
I had an axe, and the tree grew. Remember that tree that grew up at the back?
Okay.
This guy made a 6-meter long hammer. These desert horned lizards flatten themselves out to appear larger from above, scaring off potential predators.
That was stupid.
One of my subscribers caught a moose playing with a ball in their backyard.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom.
This is the most useful life hack I've seen in months.
Good idea.
So, do you think it hurt when he stubbed his toe?
Turn to the side. Turn to the side more, look at me. Why? What is happening? I don't get it. Are you an alien?
Yeah.
This little guy is known as a Spanish shawl, which can be found along the California coast.
The fuck?
Holy. Come on!
I really thought this was just a 3D painting.
No way.
I think fine dining may have gone too far.
They just brought us a rock. What could it be? They used it to serve us butter.
What is it?
It's like a horse, zebra, mule, cow thing.
Oh. Wait, that! Wait, what are these?
They knew this ride would spin, but they didn't realize how fast.
So why didn't no one tell me that popsicles did this? I did not know this.
I think this turtle might be going through something.
And then there's your accelerator. That's it. And to turn it, it's that motion. Okay, hope you enjoy. No sudden turns. Anything happens, you are liable. Enjoy.
Well, I hope they like bagels. This guy has found a great way to include his wife in his fishing hobby. He wanted to spend more time in bed, so he made an automated Lego breakfast system.
Over-engineered.
One of my subscribers sent me this video where they saw an unexpected customer at the drive-thru.
Bits out of it.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Oh my gosh.
You may have seen.
What? Oh, okay, what's the end of the video? Why am I going? What? No. No idea what. Yeah, I did not watch anything there. Oh yeah, I did add something. But a video was getting I might recommend way too often. I just decided to just add it here. Is there something else that I didn't? No, it's just one video. Is it about this guy? And then it's more about the second part though, so I don't know. Give it a chance.
Hi there, everybody. Two things before we start. One, the name change. I'm going by Patricia now. Patricia Taxon, Patty for short. And this is because I'm trans, and I'm going to spend the next couple of years becoming a lady. It's going to be a long and humiliating journey, and I hope you're all ready to have it with me. And the second thing is that while I was first formulating my ideas for this video, Rags started using this intro where he's got his little doggy character doing a jig to a pogo track, and I thought I cannot do a video about this puppy without one-upping this somehow. So I took it upon myself, and I hired a character designer, 18+, and an animator, and I got him to join forces to create a minute-long animated segment set to music that I wrote that samples both We're Back, A Dinosaur Story and Rite of Spring. And this is that. I just wanted to shout out my lovely artist collaborators. Here we go.
1 minute, then I'll do the thing. Wake up and spill the tea. I know with this specimen I'll play through easily. Get up and sing. If you have a story left, over, all the world will see. There's 500 subscribers coming in. I'll be end of the leading earth, the devil others along. Spare my whole wheelie, I step forward to another report. I see the darkness falling on the bones. Find someone to carry the load. And once that signal's been lifted off, I'll call you aboard. 1, 2, 3, 4.
More twerking. I'm ready for that. Okay. It's still going. Crazy. Moving on, yes. Right. Another
YouTube channel with a good 300,000 subscribers and the pseudonym of the dog who runs it. I've been thinking for a long time about how exactly to talk about him. For a while, I swore off making any kind of response video to him just unusable. But now I may have figured something out. Just to get things out of the way, I'd like to say without any ambiguity that out of everyone creating content on this platform, Rags is the one that I genuinely have the least respect for. Rags is consistently dishonest in ways that other people of similar mindset and work never seem to be. He represents the absolute worst form of bigotry by way of non-committal intellectual cowardice, and he has the audacity to do all of this while refusing to be entertaining.
Alright, let's go through some story, boys.
What? You can't just assume people's gender, Riley?
Rags is also basically impossible to talk about, at least in any comprehensive fashion within a video response. His content is seemingly by design resistant to the format. Some people have tried to formulate rebuttal to his ideas, but their videos end up as meandering and without focus as the source material. If I'm going to discuss this guy, I'll have to take a different approach if I'd like my arguments to actually be consumable for the average person. So first, let's talk about Rags' politics. This is actually a more complicated subject than it might seem. I'm going to pick out a particular video of his to try and explain why. This is Adam Ruins Everything is Wrong About Gamers, where he responds to an excerpt of, as expected, Adam Ruins Everything, called Why People Think Video Games Are Just for Boys.
Early video games like Pong were totally unisex,
which is neither good nor bad.
It's worth mentioning that this video is over 2 years old. I'm aware that it's seen by some as taboo to make response videos to old content, since going after stuff that's likely to be more poorly argued is seen as kind of cop-out, but I would posit that if Rags believes this video to be out of date or not very well researched, he can leave a disclaimer as a pinned comment or perhaps even make some kind of follow-up blog. You know, some kind of easily accessible signifier that this content is no longer an accurate representation of the creator's views. The Adam Ruins Everything episode being responded to is, by all accounts, quite simple. Adam explains that video games were first conceived as genderless electronic products, and it was only after the video game crash of the 1980s that game companies had to pivot to marketing themselves as entertainment for young boys. And that's part of why it's seen as a boys' club today. That's it. Now, I'd like to point your attention to this one part of Rags' response, because, as I said, I won't be responding to the entirety of any singular video of his. It's the part where he responds to Adam's brief clip show of aggressively masculine video game ads for like 7 minutes.
Other brands soon followed suit.
Yeah, I know you included that clip for a reason, because you wanted to, I don't know, maybe make it seem like it was bad for them to say, well, boys want to be men. Well, newsflash, boys do want to be men, okay? A boy wants to be a man. Of course they're going to say it separates the men from the boys. It's part of the colloquial slang now.
Okay, do you notice how, like, despite several sounds coming out of the screen, absolutely no words were said here? Like, great, you've explained the reasoning behind the marketing, but that leaves you open to a pretty clear rebuttal.
And kept marketing to them as they grew up.
Wilt thou save the girl or play like a girl? No one wants to play like a girl. What's one of the most common playground insults growing up? Well, back in my day. I say back in my day. But people would always say, hey, you kick a ball like a girl. You run like a girl. You hit like a girl. That wasn't a compliment.
Why? Why is this the way things are? And to follow up on that, is it a good thing that girlhood is seen so universally as being inherently weak that it can be used as shorthand for such? Rags never explicitly answers this question, so the only assumption I can make is that Rags is presenting this as just self-evidently good, seemingly because it is governed by some kind of natural force that shouldn't be tampered with. He keeps on going, by the way.
Got this Polar 360 stalefish. Yeah, again, we're marketing to men here. Men like to do stunts and outdoor sports. They like to show off their finesse on the snowboard or on the skateboard or on the bike or whatever they're doing. And it's like a badge of honor to men, especially growing up, to get a scar doing something that you're proud of. Plus, a lot of chicks dig guys with scars.
It's not the size of your howitzer, it's what you do with it.
Well, yeah, of course they made a commercial that said it doesn't make any sense to say that to a girl, because girls don't have penises.
Are you sure about that? A few other interesting things happen in this video. After the never-ending response to Adam's ad clip show, Adam says this.
And after decades of this kind of advertising, what's up, bitch? We now think of video games as being the exclusive domain of the male sex.
And Rags, for one, interprets this completely literally, like he responds to the claim as if Adam posited that games are literally the exclusive domain of men, and there is a physical, uncomfortably biological-centric visual metaphor keeping women from entering.
First off, who is we, Adam? When you say we think of video games as exclusively male, who is we? Who's the we you are referring to? Because it's not me, it's not people I know, it's not gamers that I play with. Here you are, showing 2 million, almost 200,000 people, and going out there and you're telling them, yeah, gamers think that games aren't for girls, when that is patently, blatantly, and demonstrably untrue. How is it demonstrably untrue? Let me show you, Adam.
And Rags goes about disproving this by...
And so when I saw this video for the first time, and you uttered these ridiculously, blatantly false words to 2.2 million people, the first thing that popped into my head was how quickly I would be able to disprove this with only the knowledge of being an actual gamer, who lives on the inside and not from the outside looking in. So I asked everybody what they thought. Who are video games for? I asked them and got 2,850 responses.
Conducting a Twitter poll with his own audience, with a sample size of like 2,000 people, being asked the question of whether video games are for a specific gender and only that gender or not. Now that's bulletproof scientific reasoning if I've ever seen. And the thing is, Rags Rags has been rambling for much longer than I've shown. It's actually been a few minutes since Adam was last allowed to speak. I'm beginning to think that most viewers just forgot the actual argument that Rags is responding to. Like, it's pretty clear when watching Adam Ruins Everything in its tightly edited form that Adam is speaking of general systemic trends, and the exclusively part was an exaggeration, but seeing it gutted and spit out in this way honestly makes it harder to follow. Now, what's even more interesting is the argument that comes after. The next segment of the Adam piece claims that the gender demographics of those that play video games is greatly skewed in public perception, and more non-men play games than is commonly thought.
Boys just like video games more than girls do.
Sorry, Jake, that's a straight up myth.
No, Adam, you're wrong again. Holy shit.
And Rags just immediately goes on a stock gamer rant about how mobile games don't count and women are actually overrepresented as a group within gaming. This makes up most of the latter half of the video. And yes, he does eventually make the biological essentialist argument for why most gamers are dudes.
So the marketing towards boys can be seen here. Boys like video games more. They are more likely to get them and play them and buy them. There's nothing keeping a girl from doing it. Boys just like it more. Just like how girls like ponies and dresses more. Especially as youths, boys and girls just like different things. It's not bad. It's just a difference between the genders.
And it seems that again, what can be explained by unseen forces is inherently righteous. But hold on, isn't that a contradiction? Well, yeah. When Rags thinks that Adam is arguing the position that video games exclude women, he responds with a Twitter poll that shows gaming is actually for everyone. But when Adam then argues that the female demographic is larger than commonly thought, it's suddenly, but don't you know about the gamer gene? In conclusion, this video is a mess. However, I can't really blame him considering the way he puts his videos together. Like, if you didn't know, he actually does this stuff in real time. He watches a bit of a thing and records his response to it essentially live before moving on to the next bit. You might also know this as the method that I used before my videos became watchable. So I have a bit of experience in this field. One trick that's easy when you make videos with this method is pausing your commentary to comment on some background element that you have playing live as you speak. I used to do this all the time before I realized the magic of writing scripts beforehand, and Rags does it occasionally too.
It is also important to note that Dean has just finished the tutorial in the background. All of what you saw, that was the tutorial. Things do not go uphill from here. It's one of the reasons that walking simulators only cater to a certain audience, because some people just want to be grabbed. Step into the dojo Winston.
Oh, and also there's a reference to Andy Warhol in the song. It's a fine gag, you know, it's kind of like a video essay fourth wall break, but it also kind of exposes that you're essentially writing, recording, and editing your essay simultaneously. Although, I have some reason to believe that Rags may not do his videos like this anymore. For one, he never comments on his gameplay footage in recent videos, and Rags doesn't strike me as the kind of person who'd be able to resist interjecting his commentary with clips about the sick headshot he just got on screen if given the chance. And for two, Rags' upload rate has dropped to like one video every 3 months, so he might actually be spending time on them now. With that in mind, let's make another stop on the Rags experience. Another minor video, this time a bit newer. It's called YouTube Belongs to Me. This is in reference to the video's subject, seen in the thumbnail, Riley J. Dennis, who has done nothing wrong. And again, let's first look at the original piece that Rags is responding to. It's mainly about Riley's experience with YouTube harassment and her ideas for site features that could be implemented in order to reduce it.
Because right now YouTube has a problem. It's become a breeding ground for far-right response channels that literally just make videos in response to other people's content. It's a really good way to get views by leeching off of other people's work and getting your audience super mad about it. YouTube, whether intentionally or not, has allowed this community to flourish for a long time. Their algorithms and ways of promoting videos have bolstered these channels without providing any protections for the channels they're attacking. And I think that needs to change. Otherwise, YouTube is going to be overrun by hateful response channels, and they'll scare away all the marginalized people who used to find solace in this platform.
Now, she brings up a lot of ideas, and Rags gives a 40-minute response to it, but I'd like to first focus on just one sentence from Riley's video.
So obviously, I want YouTube to be better. I don't think they can completely eliminate harassment and abuse, but I think they can greatly reduce it without affecting anyone's freedom of speech.
Let's just put a pin in that for now. Alright, so Rags starts off with a faster-than-light rebuttal to Riley saying that she does in fact receive harassment.
Hey everybody, so if you don't know, I've gotten a lot of harassment and abuse because of my YouTube channel.
Welcome to the internet, Riley. It's not an excuse, it's an explanation. A wee tiny tad of self-reflection can go a long way, Riley.
And proceeds to spend the next 3 minutes gaffing about how incompetent Riley is.
Oops, it's on my VPN.
About how incompetent Riley is, presumably as some kind of forward.
But Riley, have you ever gone to your videos tab and looked at some of the shit that you say? How to plan a trans-inclusive event? The problem with only supporting legal immigration? Why voter ID laws are unconstitutional? Not all violence is created equal, that it's okay to punch Nazis video? Not dating bisexual people is biphobic? Poor people deserve nice things too, because yeah, give them lobster, why not? Why would a queer person support Muslims? Because Islam didn't do nothing. Trans women are not biologically male because biological sex is a social construct. Man, your channel is a trip, Riley. Can you imagine why maybe some people don't like being called bigots and transphobic and sexist and horrible, awful people? And how maybe if you sling shit, you have to expect some to be slung back at you?
Cool, I guess you could say my video opens in a pretty similar fashion. Although I'm a bit annoyed with Rags drawing a false equivalence between Riley making videos about bigotry and targeted harassment at Riley in particular. Like, she very rarely calls any individual person a bigot, which means there aren't many people who can say they've received harassment by her hand. So the comparison doesn't make all that much sense. This entire section feels like it's just here to sell Riley as this evil person before the video has even started, and that's because it is.
So if you don't know, I've gotten a lot of harassment and abuse because of my YouTube channel, and YouTube itself has done nothing to try and prevent that.
Because, Riley, you can't go around calling hundreds of thousands of people bigots, sexist, and racist because, well, quite frankly, for any reason at all, and not expect to get a lot of negative responses from that. You can't stir the shit and be surprised when other people do the same to you. They cry out in pain as they strike you, such as Riley J. Dennis. Response videos are not harassment. People criticizing you are not harassment. You're one of the most violent, hateful channels on the entire website, and you deserve every bit of criticism that you receive. Obviously, there are lines that shouldn't be crossed, but something tells me you don't have a problem at all using fringe examples of something to regulate the entire group. Let's be frank, Riley. The point of this video is you bitching because you want people who disagree with you to be gone.
Hey, Rags, she hasn't said anything yet. Anyways, we've reached the pin we left earlier.
Obviously, I want YouTube to be better. I don't think they can completely eliminate harassment and abuse, but I think they can greatly reduce it without affecting anyone's freedom of speech.
Yeah, spoken like a true authoritarian. Oh, and let's get this out of the way now. Yes, I understand that freedom of speech only applies to the government, yada yada. But we're talking about the spirit of free speech, the principle of free speech. But YouTube cannot infringe upon your rights to free speech. Thank you. Yes, we know.
Now, you may have noticed that Rags doesn't seem to care about what she said here. He gives it a passing remark, like he's letting the audience know he's still here or something, and then goes on a short rant about the spirit of freedom of speech, which seems entirely disconnected. It's like he's using Riley's video as background noise that he begrudgingly has to play through in order to get to the part he's interested in. You don't have to respond to the whole video, Rags. You can just... But I care a bit more about this particular bit than Rags does. See, Rags spends the rest of this video pretending that this sentence, Riley saying she doesn't believe YouTube could possibly eliminate all harassment but can only reduce it, just doesn't exist. He legitimately spends the rest of this video pretending as if Riley is presenting her plan to completely eradicate all cyberbullying. Like, let's look at this clip later in the video.
Currently, YouTuber A can block YouTuber B, but all that does is prevent B from commenting on A's videos. It doesn't do anything else, and I think it can do a lot more. On other social media sites, blocking has a ton more functionality, so I'm not asking for anything that's really out there. I'm just asking for YouTube to be a little bit more like other social media networks. And at its base, YouTube basically is a video-based social network. You follow people, you have your own profile, you comment on people's stuff, etc., etc.
By blocking someone on YouTube, they can no longer leave comments on your channel. What more do you propose it should do? Are you saying that the videos that you make should not even be able to be viewed by me if you block me? You know this won't actually make it impossible for me to make responses to you. Much how people regularly respond to those they've blocked on sites like Twitter.
Yeah, nice. You know how incognito mode works. However, Riley never said she was presenting a foolproof system to end harassment. Only one that would inconvenience and roadblock harassers to the degree that a significant amount would be dissuaded from doing so. Now you might be thinking, how in the hell did Rags get away with this? He plays the clip of Riley contradicting what he's saying within his video. Well, things get a bit clearer when you look at the play bar and realize that the statement I'm referring to was around 12 minutes ago. And if you remember, it was blown off and forgotten immediately. As it turns out, Rags just doesn't have a problem with lying to your face as long as the context is too brief and far back to remember. An arguably even more egregious example of misrepresentation happens pretty close to this. Here is an unedited clip from Riley's video.
To be completely honest, I would be happy to see all of these harassment-based hate-mongering channels get banned completely. But unfortunately, I think that's unrealistic. So these steps are things that don't silence them or prevent them from making their videos. All it does is try to protect the creators that they're targeting. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Okay, Riley would like to see hateful channels be banned from the site, but as she believes this won't be happening, she's presenting potential goals that don't involve outright deplatforming. That was like a couple seconds worth of words there. What does Rags say to this?
To be completely honest, I would be happy to see all of these harassment-based hate-mongering channels get banned completely. But
yeah, there we go. People who disagree with me, people who make response videos to me, people who criticize me, their channels should be banned. Their livelihoods dismantled. All the work, all the effort, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into formulating arguments.
Why you like this? Stop it, Rags! No. Rags actually doesn't let Riley finish that thought for another 4 minutes. He gives a grand speech about how she's an authoritarian of the modern age because she wants to ban channels that she disagrees with. But let her finish, my dude. Well, after exactly one eternity has passed, Riley finally gets the chance to continue.
I think that's unrealistic. So these steps are things that don't silence them or prevent them from making their videos. All it does is try to protect the creators that they're targeting. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Honestly, I think giving YouTube even more tools and abilities to try and control people's channels and moderate them would be a terrible idea, especially considered about how they have created so much pain and misery for content creators with the demonetization issue and all the other algorithms associated with channel growth. YouTube is either incompetent or ideologically motivated. And either way, the less power they have, the better.
And Rags seems to just not notice the contradiction here. He spent 4 minutes ranting about how Riley wants him and his buds to be deplatformed, and when she finally gets the chance to clarify that's not what she's arguing, Rags just says, well, that would be bad too, I guess. Alright, so as a hypothetical, imagine if I was arguing to you that the length of time before artistic works enter the public domain is too long and it should be shortened. It wouldn't be a sound rebuttal if you just pointed out that I actually want copyright to be abolished completely. This is regardless of the fact that I actually do believe that. Copyright should be abolished, and I made 2 videos about it. Rags is doing the same thing here. For the rest of the video, Rags tackles each of Riley's feature proposals by framing it through a similar kind of false lens. Riley said that ideally, these harassment-based channels would be banned completely, therefore the ability to block other accounts from showing on your recommended bar is an act of censorship. According to Rags, this is just part of Riley's grand plan to ban all the harassment channels somehow. Rags is taking the most extreme version of Riley's argument and using it as an excuse to refuse engagement with the moderate version that she's actually presenting and elaborating upon.
If you block a YouTuber, their videos should not appear on the sidebar next to any of your videos. It's that simple.
That definitely won't be abused, Riley. All in all, this sounds like one big watch me and accept what I say, but don't you dare try to find videos that people disagree with me on. I bet you, Riley, have a whole lot of names on that naughty list of yours. So if YouTube ever does something like this, you can go through all those names and put them down on your block list, and that way you'll make sure that you can mitigate as best you can the ability for people to ever find the responses to your channel.
I got a lot of comments on my Dishonored Wolf response talking about how I left out too much context, despite the video being in response to a premise rather than in response to every argument serving that premise. Force diversity still isn't real. Wolf is attributing causation where there is none, and I don't need to refute Wolf's opinion on Star Wars to show that. I've now seen every response to my response, including those by Wolf himself, and I've yet to be given a working definition of force diversity that doesn't break under the slightest scrutiny. The causative link between superficial casting choices and overall quality of the work has failed to prove itself in any way. 13 minutes was all I needed. I bring this up because I can't help but think that this, what Rags is doing, is what these people wish I was doing with my response videos, and no thanks. I hope now it's clear that you can be just as dishonest and misleading while still playing someone's entire video inside your video, and it's pretty boring to watch as well. But I have to say, this also makes me feel pretty confident because as far as I can tell, Rags and his ilk are exclusively capable of responding to their dissenters in ways that are unwatchable to anyone who doesn't already agree with them. I could say anything, and they wouldn't be able to convince anyone who doesn't already hate me that I'm wrong. That's nice. Anyways, the rest of this video is very bad. If you were planning on watching the videos I talk about, for context, this is the one that I would most recommend skipping if you already had a bad day. For both of our sakes, I'm going to look at just one more clip from this.
Also, I want to point out that misgendering trans people should 100% be considered inciting hatred against them on the basis of their gender. The only purpose in misgendering trans people is that it hurts them and incites hatred against them.
Riley, a lot of people are going to look at you and say, hey, it's a guy because you look like a guy. You have the body of a guy. You have the voice of a guy. The DNA in every single cell of your body is male. You can call yourself whatever you want. I don't care. But once you start telling other people that they have to call you certain things, that is obviously where they draw the line.
Alright, so to his credit, Rags has never personally misgendered Riley J. Dennis. Seemingly on principle, he will always refer to Riley using she, her pronouns. This is more than can be asked of his comment section. But what he's done in this particular clip is give his entire audience an intellectual justification for the intentional misgendering of a trans woman at the tail end of a long string of insults and insinuation that she is vile and dishonest to such a degree that any criticism she receives is simply to be expected. I, quite frankly, don't think Rags belongs on YouTube.
But can you say trans rights freely? Unironically, no means. Can you say trans rights?
Trans right.
Let's look at one more video. This is a real new one. It's called the EA Inclusion Survey, and rather than being a response to a video, it's a response to a Medium article.
I recently led a research study that aims to better understand what players think about representation, diversity, and inclusion in gaming instead of just fucking going to YouTube.
This article being responded to is shockingly simple. It's just the results of a survey. It's a survey that was sent out to gamers living in the US in May of 2018. It included questions such as how highly players value diversity and accessibility in games, what things could be done to improve experiences in multiplayer titles, that kind of thing. It's open about which demographics were asked, how each question was framed, and shows everything in nice-looking graphs. You might be thinking, how do you rebuke an article that's just the results of a survey, let alone for an entire hour? Well, as it turns out, Rags has found a way, but we'll have to watch and examine what he's come up with in order to see. So, figure A. Rags says he's skeptical of the article because it was written by an employee of EA.
To the guy in the baseball cap, my 11-year-old self was too shy to mention, but thank you for being one of the reasons why I'm a huge gamer today. Yeah, imagine you're that guy and you read this, and you realize that what you did, ending up leading this chick to becoming a part of Electronic Arts, the galactic empire of video games. I bet you feel very proud. And I mean, that's assuming this happened, and I don't think it did because I don't believe the suits who work at EA. Rule of thumb, anything that EA says is a lie until proven otherwise. You think you walk in for the job interview at Electronic Arts and they're like, yeah, how honest are you?
Right, so the claim here is that EA is a bad company, therefore all of its employees are compulsive liars, which is why their writings can't be trusted. Rags, that's not an argument, that's headcanon, a fan theory. You're making a baseless accusation which can be neither proven nor falsified. You've spun me a web of nothing. Figure B. Rags thinks there aren't enough people in the survey.
The findings outlined below are from an online survey sent out to US gamers in May of 2018. 2,252 individuals took the survey, ranging from 13 to 54 years old, who own and play video games on console or PC, and who are decision makers in entertainment purchases. Wow, alright, well, like me, you're probably thinking, gosh, 2,252 people, that's not a lot of people at all, especially when we're trying to extrapolate this kind of survey to gamers as a whole.
So the claim here is that the survey can't be considered reflective of gamers as a whole. This is because the poll didn't have enough people. Now, even though the article states that the survey cast a wide net in order to represent represent as many demographics as possible, Rags is unsatisfied. See, it isn't like a granular thing, where a small yet representative chunk of people could give results that can be extrapolated to a larger but still equally proportioned group. Obviously, EA has some sort of ulterior motive with this, and you can tell because...
But that is an extremely tiny amount to then extrapolate to all gamers. And I'll wager my immaculately maintained asshole that if Electronic Arts' survey came back and, oh, it turns out they don't give a shit about inclusion at all, it turns out that they don't really like it, there's no way they'd publish this.
Rags, again, this is your goddamn headcanon. You don't know any of this. You can't prove it, and I can't falsify it, so what's it here for? Why are you wasting your breath? Figure C actually comes directly after this. Rags notices that the survey included gamers that are 13 to 16 years old.
And what is up with his age range? 13 years old? Who owns and plays games on console and PC, and who are decision makers in entertainment purchases? I mean, look, no offense to the 13-year-olds who might be watching this video, or the 14-year-olds, or the 15-year-olds, but man, like, I don't care about your opinion if you're 13 years old. I mean, people who are 13 are not exactly renowned for their incredible decision-making capabilities, and I feel like the way that this survey is framed, no wonder they had no issue giving the survey to a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, basically kids, who, by and large, probably won't be able to really think through a lot of this stuff, or whose experiences are kind of colored by their age.
Now, if I heard correctly, the claim here is that EA has maliciously expanded the age range of their survey to younger teenagers with the intention of skewing the results. People aged 13, 14, 15, and 16, skewing the results of a survey that included ages 13 to 54. Now, for one, like, 13-year-olds have opinions on art that, you know, a corporation would be interested in hearing to market to them better, but also, it's less than 10% of the age range. Rags, you
fucking hell, what the fuck am I doing?
And for that matter, what is this even for, Rags? Who benefits from making people think gamers want inclusivity more than they really do? Well, if we watch a little more of this video, we can hear his answer.
Anyway, this part wraps up by saying, when asked if they would play a game with features such as customization for females and diverse ethnic backgrounds, diverse storytelling from different perspectives, and accessibility to those with special needs, roughly 45% of players report being even more likely to play that game. Now, this is a survey by Electronic Arts, and I seem to remember that not too long ago, they had a particular game come out by the name of Battlefield 5, and that game was a fantastic example of inclusion done just horribly, horribly wrong. Gamers were chastised and mocked and insulted by the devs and EA themselves because, hey, if you don't think that a face paint wearing disabled cyborg women fought on the British front lines in World War II, then you just need to fucking educate yourself. Well, instead of educating myself, I spent my money elsewhere, and it turns out that I wasn't the only one. EA's flagship for inclusion took a huge hit, definitely a low point for the series. The game is the first Battlefield game to miss the NPD's top 10 this decade. The internet is full of the news about just how poorly the game sold compared to other Battlefield games. How very strange it is that this survey would release shortly after the news of the disappointing Battlefield sales had sat in the public eye, almost as if they're trying to really push the narrative, despite all reality, that inclusion sells video games. Almost as if they're trying to save face?
Alright, I think that's enough examples to establish the first pattern. Rags just makes shit up. He pulls reasons to distrust the results of this survey out of his ass. He has similar non-arguments for just about every section of it. Another big chunk of this video's length is comprised of Rags just asking questions of the survey that he could just find out himself if he did some research. Like here.
Alrighty, this last one's a bit odd to see here. Offering features that allow those with special needs to play. So you mean disabled people? Mentally handicapped people? I can't say retard on YouTube anymore. Do you really want every game to be so accessible that a mentally handicapped person can beat it? What about multiplayer games? How would you even go about doing that? Even in terms of a single-player game, should games that are known for the challenge and difficulty all be dumbed down to accommodate the least capable among us? Mainly, should the creators of games fear the social justice outrage mob coming for them if their vision is for a game that's difficult and that it's not deemed inclusive enough?
And as it turns out, you'll be pleased to hear, we've already figured out how to simultaneously impose an intended level of difficulty while also giving players a way to circumvent these factors for an experience that suits them. Celeste is a rock-hard 2D platformer that features a robust set of accessibility options. It's essentially a debug mode that they let players use. This counterintuitively enforces a particular designer-curated experience more so than a normal difficulty selection would, because these accessibility options are presented transparently as being a separate custom experience that the player can make for themselves. Check out this video of a severely visually impaired player playing with the assist mode. He's actually having a pretty fun and difficult time, just for himself, you know? It's cool. Of course, what would then follow is a discussion over the degree to which developers are responsible for including these kinds of accessibility features, and maybe you have an answer to this. But I'm pretty sure that whatever you'd say in response would be more substantive than your current method of just confusedly shouting ableist slurs into the microphone. And as it always is with Rags, the ever-present appeal to the authority of the status quo also makes several appearances here. There's a part later in the video where Rags looks at a graph of all the most popular reasons that those asked aren't more interested in video games as a general hobby than they already are.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't really give a shit what non-gamers think about gaming. In the same way that professional bowlers probably don't really care about my opinion on bowling.
What?
So if somebody who isn't really into gaming doesn't like or enjoy video games...
Jeez. No, it's not me. There's too much bass for some reason. Maybe it's just the microphone having some grounding problems. Let me see this. Is this something? I'm not sure if that's the term. Buzz. Yeah, that's the problem. It's bothering me. I thought it was me or something. God damn it. Well,
tells me that I don't like it because they're unfriendly player community, or it's too difficult, or I'm not confident in my skills, or there's too many buttons on the controller. Okay, then go play a hobby that you enjoy. Don't try and fuck around with my shit because you don't like it.
This is, again, circular reasoning. Rags doesn't think developers should be making efforts to be more inclusive or accessible because that's the way it is, and is therefore the way it should be. You understand that's where the argument ultimately ends up, right? It's not for everybody, therefore it should be for no more people. You can use that to justify anything. And then immediately after this, Rags takes a look at a graph that shows that while female gamers are equally proportioned with men while playing with friends and family, they are underrepresented by a long shot when playing online with strangers. And
well, it looks like men and women equally like to play with friends and family in person. I'm assuming this is couch co-op or hot seat or split screen. You guys remember hot seat, right? Oh man, Worms World Party, Civilization 4, those were the days. Anyway, once we move online to a more competitive and less personal space like online gaming, the differences become obvious. They like to play play online less, they like to play with strangers less, and they like to play in a real team of players less. And that makes sense to me. In fact, I think it would be very unusual if the opposite results were reported. Women generally, and holy fuck, I literally don't care about, well, my little niece Nancy sure does love to play volleyball. I don't care about your anecdotal example. So don't even make it. Individual outliers do not disprove generalities. The general trend seems to be that women are less interested in competition in competitive environments and risk-taking in general.
He makes the gamer gene argument again. Okay, I guess I have to explain why this isn't a satisfactory thing to say. Like, you might respond by saying, oh, I'm not saying that women have a physiological trait that makes them less likely to play competitive multiplayer games. That's just the choice they make. But if you don't go on to explain why these choices are being made and simply describe it as self-evident that this is the natural order of things, you've just made a physiological argument with extra steps. This discussion is and has always been centered around why individual choices people make still turn up with seemingly systemic imbalances. If you don't go that extra step, then you might as well be arguing for the existence of a gamer gene. This bigotry by way of non-argumentation just keeps on showing up all across Rags' channel. Like here, where he rebuts someone pointing out that most games have white protagonists, which is true, by saying that things are fine the way they are because we're in a meritocracy and it's just to be expected.
According to a landmark 2009, 85% of game characters are white.
What survey? There's no link in the description to it. I'd like to take a look and see if these numbers have any bias or leaning or try to draw conjecture based on the information that they have, but I guess you're just not going to show us the information. But it's clear to you that things being 85% white in this one bit of media bothers you. So I'm curious, what percentage is acceptable, Jamin? What percentage of people in media should be white? Can you give me a number? Do you have one? Do you understand the implications of having percentage quotas? Would you not know what a meritocracy was if it bit you on the ass?
This leaves less than 15% of the video game universe for Black, Asians, Hispanic, Indians, Native Americans, and mixed people.
Jamin, look, this might sound really awful to you to hear, but you're gonna have to listen anyway if you ever see this video. Black people, Latinos, Asians, Native Americans, whatever, nobody is owed a spot on these places because of their skin color. Because if they were, that would be racist. But this isn't malicious discrimination, just like white people aren't being maliciously discriminated against in the NBA. Nothing is keeping these people out. Nothing is preventing these people out. Nothing is preventing you from succeeding in being in the media. You want more than 15% representation by minorities. I want whatever percentage a meritocracy reflects. That's why I'm not going to give you a number. That's why I'm not going to say a certain percentage is too much or a certain percentage is too little. Or we have to, adopt the soft bigotry of low expectations to prop up people of certain races based on their skin color. Because I think they're just as capable.
And wanting a meritocracy isn't inherently racist when taken in a vacuum. Like, it's wrong, but that's a different topic. It's pointing to the current state of racial media representation and deeming itself justified under the pretense that we are already living in a meritocracy that is racist. Rags is being racist here.
I have been accused of being racist or transphobic or something, even though the artist who draws the images you're seeing now, she's not white, but whatever, I guess the truth is inconvenient, isn't it? It is a funny thing. They can never actually give me any examples, but that's what they've heard, so hey.
And I didn't even have to mention how eager he is to drop the N-bomb when it's time to defend PewDiePie. Hopefully now I have shown the levels of dishonesty and malice that Rags will often stoop to. So again, how does he get away with it? Well, this whole time I've been making fun of his method of interjecting himself after every sentence, and while this is worth making fun of.
I don't know if you can hear them, but there are cicadas in the background right now, and they're so loud, I just hear them buzzing everywhere.
Yeah, I live in Arkansas. We have cicadas here too, and we solved the problem of their noise by closing the window. Yeah.
This might actually be a crucial element of his appeal. Like, think about what it looks like if you already agree with him. Instead of an annoying jackass who tediously responds to every statement in chronological order with disregard for any broader points being made, even when he has no idea what he's talking about. He's a smooth-voiced, quick-witted wordsmith who has an answer for everything his opponent is saying. Not a single claim makes it past him. He bats them all out of the air like he's a professional NBA player blocking shots. This is, in fact, a unique advantage that the response video format allows. It's like playing first in Go. When you're making a response video, you have the capability to enter a false debate where you have complete control over the pace of discussion. It's basically a given that a response video looks like an absolute destruction. Keep in mind, I'm not immune to this bias either. I'm also entering a false debate with this video you're watching right now. The responsibility lies on me alone to refrain from taking advantage of this handicap instead of just pointing out that my opponent works for EA and is therefore a liar. As we have seen, Rags' rebuttals are often weak or dishonest, less than nothing at times. The sheer amount of circular reasoning can give you a fever if you expose yourself for too long. The important part, however, is that this makes Rags appear neutral. It makes him seem unbiased to rebut claims that society should change in some way by simply observing the way things are and attributing godlike significance to whatever forces brought us here. Well, I'm sorry to say, that's as far as you can get from being unbiased. In fact, Nebula's appeal to the status quo as unquestionable good is a pretty common trait of reactionaries, of which, if you've been paying attention, Rags most certainly is. Rags is, among many things, a liar. He's also an intellectual coward with an unwillingness to look beyond the most surface level interpretation of any argument, which only serves to accentuate the latent bigotry that lies like a deep smog over his entire body of work. If you happen to be a fan of his, I, for one, am genuinely thankful that you made it this far, but I also hope you keep in mind what I've said for the future. This is a new kind of propaganda. It's propaganda of false neutrality. Rags is one of these propagandists with a moderately large audience, and I hope from now on people pay closer attention to what he and others like him are really saying, so we can spot this vile rhetoric wherever it may crop up. But most importantly, I hope that we can pay attention to what we say as well, because none of us are immune to this. This style of response video is honestly akin to some sort of drug, because it feels so powerful. There is no way to not feel correct while you're doing it, but that's only because the format allows you to simply ignore any larger structural points that are being made. Now, Rags is too far gone, obviously, but if any of my lefty pals are relying on this format and feel called out right now, I'd like to say that it isn't too late. I used to be like you. It's fine. You can experiment with your structure, and soon you'll be slightly better at making content. It's cool. Good night, everybody. I hope you all have a nice rest of your careers. And now I never need to think about Rags again for the rest of my life. Good riddance.
Oh, hello, and happy Pride. The other day, I made a community post here on YouTube, and I titled it, Happy Pride, all of these artists were queer, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, John Singer, Sargent Caravaggio, Rosa Bonheur, Frida Kahlo, and a bunch of other ones. And I'm gonna be totally honest, I thought it was like, oh, this is really cute, I'm gonna make a cute little, like, Pride post about some artists that what we would now define as queer. It ruffled some feathers, let's say. Remember that a lot of these, especially the number 2, lack solid evidence. Ew, there's zero proof of this. No, Michelangelo and the artists were not queer. For some of them, there is no evidence, sad face. And then someone asked them back, how many artists do you think are straight? Have you asked for evidence of their sexuality? I wonder. And then they responded back, I'm just saying that we can't know for sure if they were straight or LGBT. We don't know that. I wish we had some more proof. But I have great news for you, random commenter, because we actually have an overwhelming, abundant amount of evidence that suggests Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Botticelli, and a bunch of other Renaissance painters were super gay. I was kind of taken aback, to be totally honest, when I got these comments on this post, because I'm gonna be so for real. I thought that this was pretty common knowledge at this point. I'm always down to be proven wrong. I'm so happy to dig into the nitty-gritty research of things. And let me tell you, when you're researching about sexuality in the Renaissance, it's gritty. There's a lot. The artists in particular that most people had an issue with me speculating on their sexuality or claiming that there was evidence for their sexuality were these two guys, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. And once again, the more that I dug into the Renaissance, the more I realized how incredibly ridiculously gay it was. But for some reason, I'm not seeing a lot of videos here on YouTube about that. So today I thought we could go through a couple of not only the most famous artists in the Renaissance, but who also happen to be some of the most famous artists in history, and talk about the insane amount of evidence that seems to suggest that they were not straight, or in a couple of instances, possibly on the spectrum of asexuality. Renaissance. I will escort myself out. Slight warning here, because we're talking about the Renaissance, and because we're talking about sexuality in the Renaissance, this is a spicy video. Everything's gonna be bleeped out and blurred, and with that, let's cut to the case. Michelangelo was born in the year 1475 in Firenze, Italia. That would be Florence, Italy in the Queen's tongue. As a young artist, Michelangelo was taken under the wing of one of the most powerful families in history, the Medicis. And you probably know him best from works like the Pietà, David, and, oh, I don't know, the Sistine Chapel. He is undeniably one of the top 10 most influential artists in Western history. He was also very, very gay. Now, I know what some of the people in my comments are probably thinking right now. Michelangelo can't have been gay because gay hadn't been invented yet, at least not as, like, an identity. People didn't really have a concept of what, like, being gay meant. And that's true and not true. Let me explain a little bit about sexuality during the Renaissance. During the Renaissance, a lot of the ideas about sexuality kind of carried over from the Middle Ages. And so, for the most part, you had two kinds of sexuality. Good Christian sexuality, which is defined as only between a man and a woman who were married and only during specific circumstances in which you were actively trying to have a child. And sodomy was, and I joke you not, quite literally everything else. Anything that was sexual in nature, but not necessarily trying to actively have a child. They were extremely specific. This list includes things such as butt stuff, hand stuff, mouth stuff, any position other than missionary. That's it. Doing it with the animals. But usually when people were talking about sodomy, they were specifically referring to a man getting it on with another man. Why? Well, a lot of other sodomy that was committed within the confines of the home and wasn't really penalized in that way because for the most part, unless you were a royal, you didn't have a bunch of higher-ups watching you get it on. So while the concept of gay didn't exist, gay people absolutely existed, and we're about to meet some of them. I found it fascinating that this guy was the one that people seem to have issues with me calling gay, not like John Singer Sargent or, you know, a couple of the other ones where it's like a little iffier. It was like Michelangelo, which, now let's get into a little bit of the evidence, shall we? But first, a super quick sponsor. Back to talking about all of the evidence for why Michelangelo was hella gay. If you're someone who is a little bit like me and you say, hey, what the frick, you're a random YouTuber, what the heck do you know? You're not a historian or anyone formal like that. Well, here's a clip from award-winning historian and author Kate Lister, who literally specializes in the history of what we'll call adult affections.
I am currently in the BBC's new documentary, Renaissance, the Blood and the Beauty, which tells the story of Michelangelo and Raphael and Leonardo da Vinci, not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the actual artists. Now, I'm not an art historian, but I am a historian of adult affections, and I am mostly there to say that Michelangelo was definitely gay. And I have had emails from quite angry people telling me that I'm not allowed to say that Michelangelo was gay, that he wasn't gay, and how dare I say such things. Someone say it again. He was gay. He was definitely gay. He was a big, lovely gay Italian man. He fell out of the gay tree, hit every gay branch on the way down, and landed on a gay guy, and then he didn't.
But if the word of a prominent adult fun time historian is not enough for you, let's go over some visual evidence, shall we? Number one, how he portrays women. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe this is how every heterosexual man views women, but it is very worth noting that all of the women in Michelangelo's work do look extremely masculine. Michelangelo was known to have absolutely loved depicting the male form. There is a reason why David is so famous. It's because it is incredibly masterfully done. And in order to become a master at sculpting something, you have to really like sculpting it. You know what I'm saying? So all of his ladies, very masculine. Compare this to his rival, Raphael, who was known for being both heterosexual and a big ladies' man. How he depicted women was extremely different. Number two, acorns. Around the Sistine Chapel, he painted approximately a bajillion of them. And if you look at them real closely and then you compare them to certain other aspects of human anatomy, they really match up real closely. Don't know how else to say it. The shape of the acorns and how they're depicted is extremely similar to how Michelangelo chooses to depict the glands. So the other interesting thing about these acorns is that they were a reference both to the commissioner of the Sistine Chapel, Pope Julius II. His family name was Rovere, which means oak, and the Greek word for acorns is balanos, which is also used to refer to this specific part of the male anatomy. And so by including these in the Sistine Chapel, it is a visual joke. Many historians speculate that including these in the Sistine Chapel was a sort of like visual pun. Thirdly, the men in his work are all, and I quote from some post of yore, beautiful, naked, and stacked. This man drew a man at every opportunity. Even when it was a woman, it was a man with boobs. As an artist, you paint what you like. But I understand that speculating about art style can be a little bit iffy when it comes to determining sexuality. So let's get into some more hard evidence. Let's talk about his friends. According to Dr. Richter Norton, a prominent writer of all things gay history, Michelangelo had a reputation for his homosexual behavior among his contemporaries. In a letter to Nicole Quaratesi, I'm so sorry everyone who speaks Italian who's watching this video, Michelangelo recalls how a father described his son to him in the hopes of the boy becoming the artist's apprentice. Once you saw him, you'd chase him into bed the minute you got home. Chasing the homies into bed. Super hetero. But don't worry guys, it's like chasing the homies into bed in like a really straight way. Michelangelo also wrote a bunch of poetry about a guy who modeled for him named Gerardo Perini. On nights where Gerardo wouldn't come to the studio, Michelangelo would often scrawl poems beside his drawings, like, only I remain burning in the dusk after the sun has stripped the world of its rays. Whereas other men take their pleasure, I do but mourn, prostrate on the ground, lamenting and weeping. Or the classic, I had always thought I could come to terms with love. Now I suffer, and you see how I burn. Both very, very likely written in reference to Perini. On the back of a letter to another guy, he writes of himself being shot at by Cupid's arrows. Very straight, dodging Cupid with the homies. And in 1532, Michelangelo began wooing a man named Tommaso Cavalieri, and wrote to him, may I burn if I do not love thee with all my heart, and lose my soul if I feel for any other. What from thee I long for and learn to know deep within me can scarcely be understood by the minds of men. One poem, again, according to Richter Norton, that historian from earlier, talks a little bit about his desire to be the erotic prey of the aristocrat that he is writing at the time. Why should I seek to ease intense desire with still more tears and windy words of grief, if only chains and bands can make me blessed? No marvel if alone and naked I go, an armed cavalryman's captive and slave confessed. The cavalryman is a pun on Cavalieri. By the way, Michelangelo also made a piece of art for this guy depicting the kidnapping of Ganymede by Zeus. If you don't know what that myth is, Ganymede was this very, very attractive young man who was a shepherd, and he was so beautiful that he was kidnapped by Zeus to be his cupbearer and serve with him in Mount Olympus. A lot of people in ancient Greece interpreted this as a divine okay for homosexual behavior. Also, super sad, rip Michelangelo, he was still totally rejected. There are also a lot of letters to suggest that he slept with another apprentice named Braccino. I can't pronounce Italian names! Super quick aside to address something that I know will come up if you know anything about these relationships. They do have pretty prominent age gaps. A lot of these relationships were the practice of something called pederasty. Am I pronouncing that right? Pederasty. Great. And this is where there's an intimate, romantic, and often full relationship between a master and an apprentice. Usually the relationships involved someone who was in their later teens and someone who was in their late 20s, early 30s. Was that good by our current standards? standards? Obviously not. But was that very normal for the time in terms of age gaps? Yes, very much so. It was super common for women who were aged 15 to 17 to be married off to men at the time who were like in their late 20s to mid 30s. Also worth noting, later in his life, Michelangelo did become close to a woman named Vittoria Colonna, but it's not really believed to be a romantic affair, more like close friends, especially because he did call her a man in a woman's body. So it doesn't really seem like there was a lot of romance going on unless it was a situation where there was like an interesting gender identity going on, but we don't really have a lot of evidence of that. It's just, most people think it was more of a friendship thing. Now, here's the smoking gun of all of this. Remember those poems that we read? Michelangelo wrote a lot of them, and a lot of them were rather explicit. Back to Kate Lister for a second.
But if you want actual evidence for this, all right, fine, you can have some evidence. In the 1530s, Michelangelo hired a young model called Phoebo de Poggio, who he would later call my little blackmailer, and he wrote that in his texts, in his own hand. Now, Poggio is the Italian word for hill, and Michelangelo would write lots of poems about how he climbed up a hill, fell down on it, and was then exhausted and spent.
So after he was dead, his grandnephew published his poetry, but in doing so, he changed all of the pronouns so that Michelangelo was writing to women. It actually wasn't until the late 1800s, I think, where we discovered all of these poems had been completely changed. It wasn't until like the 1960s that we like meticulously translated all of these poems into their original form, which was male pronouns. So yeah, by his own admission, by all of the things that he wrote, all of the actions that he did, Michelangelo was very gay. Now on to our second artist, Leonardo da Vinci, a brilliant Renaissance painter, writer, scientist, inventor, and engineer. You may know him from his flying machines, his sketches like the Vitruvian Man, the literal most famous painting in all of history, or perhaps his fabulous hat. You go, Leonardo. When people compliment you by calling you like a Renaissance man or a Renaissance woman, he was the definition of Renaissance man. He was also very not straight. Let's discuss the evidence. But first, actually, let's discuss what some of the arguments are for him being not gay. Like this video that insists that Leonardo was in fact not gay, he was just autistic.
Was Leonardo da Vinci a boy lover? That's the rumor I've heard. That's the label Hollywood slaps on him. And it's as true as saying Donald Trump is a fascist, meaning it's a political smear, not a proven fact. The biggest so-called evidence comes from an anonymous sodomy accusation in 1476. Then there's the he wore pink, so he was gay nonsense. Modern gender color codes didn't even exist until the 20th century. In Leo's time, pink and bright colors screamed wealth, not sexuality. Next, we hear about Salai, his servant and later apprentice. People claim favoritism and romance. Reality checks, Salai married. He got a slice of Leo's garden in the will. Furthermore, a female servant received the other half of the garden. So I guess he must be bi according to that logic. The historical record doesn't prove he was a boy lover. It proves people are willing to twist history for politics, entertainment, and personal gain. And that's demonic.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
Because once you rewrite a man's life for your own story, you've stolen his legacy. It is my contention that Leonardo da Vinci was a neurodivergent like me. In my next video, I'll take you down the rabbit hole of how neurodivergents are more likely to be non-religious and non-heterosexual. This would be a much better explanation of Leo's life on instant fate. Leo was a neurodivergent, not the gay. So nice try, ABC community, but you can't claim Leo as one of y'all.
Whew, okay, we got some stuff to... We don't have time to unpack all of that, but let's try. Shout out to all my gay autistic viewers out there. Put your special interest in the comments. Tell us all about it. Bet you can't guess mine. Leonardo da Vinci was an interesting character, and actually very little is considered to be known about his personal life because although he left behind hundreds and hundreds of pages of journals and different stuff like that, a lot of it was not super personal in nature. It was more scientific. He also never married, which is thought by some historians to be an indication that he didn't really have a sexual or intimate relationship with anybody, male or female. In fact, one of the few references that Leonardo made to sexuality in his notebooks states, "The act of procreation and anything that has any relation to it is so disgusting that human beings would soon die out if there were no pretty faces and sensuous dispositions." He also wrote, "Intellectual passion drives out sensuality. Whoso curbs not lustful desires puts himself on a level with the beasts." A couple important things to note here. Definitely doesn't seem like Leo liked much at all, but we also need to take into account that this was very, very likely referring to a heterosexual view of sex being very specifically between a man and a woman in that very specific circumstance, because the other things weren't really viewed as like real. It was viewed as sodomy. So yeah, although with that, there is an interesting piece of evidence that some people think is a little bit weird, because Leonardo da Vinci, he has a bunch of scientific illustrations. The one illustration that he has concerning sexuality very blatantly is of a man and a woman in the process of doing it, but the woman is shown without any head or like a lot of identifying features, whereas the man is drawn in a much more detailed manner. So some people think it is a little bit of a weird dynamic that he's drawing there. Now let's talk a little bit about that sodomy accusation from the video. This is from Wikipedia. Not hard to find. The only historical document concerning Leonardo's sexual life is an accusation of sodomy made in 1476 when he was almost 24 and still at the workshop of Verrocchio. Florentine court records show that on 9th of April 1476 an anonymous denunciation was left in the tamburo letterbox in the Palazzo della Signoria, accusing a young goldsmith and male prostitute Jacopo Saltarelli, sometimes referred to as an artist model, of being party to many wretched affairs and consents to please those persons who request such wickedness of him. The denunciation accused 4 people of sodomizing Saltarelli: Leonardo da Vinci, a tailor named Bacino, Bartolomeo di Pasquino, and Leonardo Tornabuoni, a member of the aristocratic Tornabuoni family. Saltarelli's name was known to the authorities because another man had been convicted of sodomy with him earlier the same year. Charges against the 5 were dismissed on condition that no further accusations appear in the tamburo. The same accusation did in fact appear again on 7th of June, but charges were again dismissed. So what the hell am I talking about here? Charges? Dismissed? Let's talk about Florence in the Renaissance, because holy crap, whatever the gay capital of the United States is, I don't know, New York City? San Francisco? Something like that? Portland? Probably not Portland. Let's be real. Whatever the gay capital of the United States is now, that was Florence in the Renaissance. Da Vinci, along with a bunch of other writers, artists, scientists, creatives, spent a ton of time there. It was very gay. There was lots of stuff going down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Yikes. Christian preachers at the time didn't exactly love that, especially people like Bernardino of Siena, who claimed widespread homosexual activity threatened to bring divine retribution on Florence. And because of this, the Office of the Night, aka the Ufficiale di Notte, was founded in 1432 expressly to try and prevent some of this same-sex activity that was kind of running rampant throughout the streets of Florence. You could say it was their top priority.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Gosh. Anyway, here's how that worked. Lawmakers placed these custom letterboxes called tamburi in churches and public buildings, and they just allowed whoever walked by to drop in anonymous tips and accusations against local men. And when you had one of these accusations of sodomy, which was usually homosexuality, brought against you, there was a certain order to things. The first time you were accused, you were given a fine. The second time, that's right, you were given a fine. The third time, another fine. The fourth time, insane, wow, another fine. But the fifth time, you were literally sentenced to death. Except to be honest, you were most likely just fined again. Some people were sentenced to death, but for the most part, it seems like people were just fined because this really did bring in a lot of money to Florence. In fact, in the 15th century, homosexual relationships between men in Florence became so widely known and talked about that the slang term for homosexuals was in German Florenzer, which literally means Florentine. During this office of the night thing, about 17,000 men were accused, which means about 2/3 or more of all of the men in Florence were being accused of sodomy. And these accusations were often awarded, which did lead to some sort of kind of doofy witch trial situations sometimes. Doofy witch trial situations sometimes. Let me be totally clear, although this hopefully for most people was not like a life or death ordeal, it was a reputation ruining ordeal, so it was taken very seriously. Leonardo da Vinci did briefly spend time in prison from being accused of sodomy, and it is not that it really did have an effect on his reputation. Aside Elizabeth Abbott, an award-winning historian and author, his sort of male sexuality was understood and accepted. He preferred the company of and the beauty of men. But what was despised in Renaissance Italy was sodomy. Why? It was probably because it was considered by the church to be unnatural. It was supposed to be for procreation only. Now let's address something else in this video. He talked about Leonardo wearing pink. That's not an argument. Everybody wore bright colors if you were rich. That seems like a straw man to me. I don't even know what he's talking about, to be honest. But as for that third one, let's talk about Salai a little bit, because this is where we get into some definitely not straight territory. Salai, aka Gian Giacomo Caprotti da Oreno, was one of Leo's apprentices. See, he first became Leo's apprentice at around age 10, and he was quickly dubbed Salai because he stole a ridiculous amount of money and was kind of just generally a massive pain in the ass. So he earned the nickname Salai, which means demon. However, for all of the accounts we have of Leonardo complaining about Salai, he also spent an insane amount of money on him. There isn't really any evidence that there was anything romantic up until a certain point. Leonardo spent more money on Salai's clothing than a lot of people would earn in their wages in like half a year of work. This guy was very, very well taken care of, which is not necessarily like an indication that you're in a relationship with someone just because you spend a lot of money on them. Salai is considered by many historians to have been the model for a number of different compositions that Leonardo did, including but not limited to one of his famous works, this painting of John the Baptist. What's really interesting, John the Baptist already has some really interesting tension, let's say, in this painting. It has a certain kind of energy to it, but there is, kind of to go along with this painting, there's also a very erotic drawing of Salai known as the Incarnate Angel, which is thought to have been drawn by Leonardo, and this particular drawing shows Salai as an angel with an erect phallus. It was rediscovered in a German collection in 1991, and it apparently appears to be a humorous take on his own John the Baptist painting. Now, another interesting thing, there's a folio by him called the Codex Atlanticus, and it includes 2 pages of drawings by a hand other than Leonardo's, one of which is a crudely drawn sketch depicting an anus identified as Salai's bum, pursued by penises on legs with tails. Giorgio Vasari describes Salai as a graceful and beautiful youth in which Leonardo greatly delighted. You know, you can say like a platonic sugar daddy thing going on here, but the highly erotic drawing would suggest otherwise. Salai would remain pretty close to Leonardo up until the point that he literally died, and during that time he was also suspected to have more romantic relationships with other apprentices. Conclusion, Leonardo da Vinci was possibly gay. He was not interested in women. That's 100% for sure. Some people suggest that he could be asexual, other people suggest that he could be gay, but one thing is definitely for sure, the guy was not straight. Speed run, super fast, for a couple more artists from the Renaissance that you know and that you love because they're super cool. Number 1, Botticelli, born in 1445, considered to be a prominent painter of the early Renaissance. Sandro Botticelli is most famous for his works like Primavera and The Birth of Venus. He's also famous for paintings like this one of Saint Sebastian, which oozes homoerotic tension. Oozes is a horrible word, but you know, yeah. Something really interesting about Saint Sebastian, although he is the patron saint of archers, he was also kind of the patron saint of queer artists during this time period and after. Some people even call him the patron saint of the gays. From the Renaissance onward, frequently, Saint Sebastian was depicted as a beautiful, muscular, semi-naked youth pierced by arrows. For centuries, this allowed artists to openly express homoerotic desire under the guise of religious art. Metaphorically, Saint Sebastian shares a lot of experiences with the modern gay experience. He was a Roman soldier who had to hide his true identity only to be persecuted and violently outed when discovered, much like gay men during the time. Which, by the way, there are a ton of ridiculously thirsty portraits of this Catholic saint, and I find that very funny. According to the National Gallery in London, Botticelli never married, preferring the company of family and friends. Many art historians note the subtle nod to homoerotic themes in his art, including that he drew heavily on male models for a lot of his female figures. He also apparently kind of hated the idea of being married. An anecdote records that his patron Tommaso Soderini suggested he marry, to which Botticelli replied that a few days before he had dreamed that he had married, woke up struck with grief, and for the rest of the night walked the streets to avoid the dream resuming if he slept again. The story concludes cryptically that Soderini understood that he was not fit ground for planting vines. Whatever that means, it doesn't sound like our traditional ideas of heterosexuality. He was also accused of sodomy later in life, but it's also important to realize that there was a woman that he seemed to have had a close relationship with, whether of adoration or a romance, we're not totally sure, but it does seem like he could have been platonically in love with her, because he did have a request to have himself buried at the foot of her tomb when he died, and that request was fulfilled. This one's kind of iffy, it's hard to know, which is why I did not include him on my list of artists that seem pretty certainly not straight. Giovanni Bazzi, aka Il Sodoma, a highly sought-after painter whose professional moniker was originally an insulting term for his homosexuality, which he defiantly embraced, because it literally means the sodomizer, was his official business name. Genuinely imagine if your business email was mrbuttstuff@gmail.com. Nice. Then there's Benvenuto Cellini. His most famous work is Perseus with the head of Medusa. It now stands in Florence, not far from the Uffizi Art Gallery. He straight up lived as openly bisexual and used his poetry and writing to try and advocate for his own sexuality and defend relationships between men. He was fined a bunch for acts of sodomy, and we actually have a record that he paid 12 bushels of flour for these, and I quote, libidinous acts of lust. In summary, a bunch of people in the Renaissance, a lot of the artists that you know and love, a lot of probably your favorite artists from the Renaissance were super gay. For a long time, I was trying to figure out why a lot of these comments on this, what I thought was a really simple post that I made about pride, were insisting that these historical figures couldn't be gay. To be totally honest, I'm still not sure why this is such a common sentiment, but I do wonder if it has to do with old arguments that were made about these these artists where people argued that one of the reasons why they couldn't be gay is because they were such geniuses, which feels like a crazy argument to make, but it was one that was made. Occasionally I see this concept that speculating about the sexualities of people in the far past is insensitive or worthless or we shouldn't do it at all, which I think is a big shame because unfortunately, like we see in the case of Michelangelo, a lot of the way that these people lived was intentionally erased for the shame that was perpetuated. And so in a lot of these cases, we're not making anything up. We're just looking at the evidence available and trying to draw the most reasonable conclusion from that. That being said, I'm super open to your thoughts. So what do you think about these artists? Do you think that they were gay, asexual, super heterosexual, bisexual? What do you think was going on here? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. This wasn't supposed to be a super serious video, just trying to bring some of the interesting evidence that we have forward about some of these artists and what their lives might have been like so that we can understand them and their art a little bit better. Because it really is my view that when we can understand the artist better, we can understand the art better. And with paintings like the Mona Lisa or the Sistine Chapel, I think that's especially important. Once again, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far and you would like to subscribe to this channel and see more weird and or occasionally dangerous art history, you can hit that subscribe button down below and I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much to my patrons for making this video possible, and thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video. If you would like to check them out, there's a link below. You won't regret it. It's really cool. And with that, happy Pride. Whatever you're doing this month, I hope that you stay safe and that you have a great time and that you have a wonderful month. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Oh, well. Nice. That's probably it. Yeah, it's about time to just stop. To Nashville. This World Cup stuff. Probably. Let's just take a quick look. I probably won't watch it all.
It makes us proud to be future Americans. Yeah. Like, that's what makes me... I'm so proud of America for people seeing it finally what it is. I know you don't want to admit it, Europe, but your minds have just been blown. America has been descended upon by 40,000 Scottish fans in Boston, and it has fundamentally changed the way that Europe looks at America. What you're hearing from the media is nonsense.
This is something we've known for so long, we just have to other people can see it as well.
The vibe in Boston has completely been shifted. If you've never watched the channel before, I'm Paul and this is Emily, and we're moving to America. And the reason that we've got this channel is to share our opinions, our perspectives, and more importantly, share our experiences and the journey that we're actually on.
And also tell you guys why we love America, American people.
Yeah, exactly. Just tell you why we love America. We're picking up ourselves, our dog, and moving to the great state of Tennessee. And this journey is ongoing. So if you like that kind of stuff and you like us and you want to be a part of this journey, then click below, subscribe, please. We would love it if you were here for this journey. You don't realise what you're reading in the newspapers is lies.
And also the future of like tourism, going to America. Everybody want to go now.
And it's the media in Europe portrays America as this absolutely insane place.
Dangerous to go.
Yeah, and it's not true. Like, we've travelled extensively in the States, and we know that there is no friendlier people in the world.
They take care of all the football fans, invite them for like barbecues, for drinks, invite them to their home, and I'm like, this is what we knew.
This is what we already knew, right? And we've been banging on and telling people, like, what you're hearing from the media is nonsense. What people are saying about, you know, how America really is, is not right.
And we've been saying this for so long, and people have been like, yeah, but then I read this in the news, blah, 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 blah. And now when you see actual videos, real example of how friendly people are, how they take care of the people that come there, it's insane.
Exactly. Everything you've heard is a tiny, tiny, tiny perspective of just a narrow slice of America, 1%, and the 99% is what you're seeing with these Scottish fans in Boston.
And how they all want to stay there now. Nobody want to go back.
Nobody wants to go back. Literally, people are literally staying in Boston and extending their trips.
And you know what? They're welcome. I've also seen so many like Instagram posts and TikToks about like people in Boston saying, please don't leave, stay, we love the vibe you're bringing.
Exactly.
Stay.
There's a video, there's one guy, and he's like, these men must be protected at all costs. Yeah. The vibe in Boston has completely been shifted. They're running around with pallets and pushing each other around in grocery carts and playing the bagpipes at 5 in the morning.
I know, it's so
just wild.
And it's also welcome. Like, they're joining in. We've seen like all these like policemen joining in and dancing with all the fans. Like, it looks insane.
Absolutely mental. You know, I could not be happier. Happy as Larry, could not be happier that this has happened, because I never honestly realised how much of an impact this would have on the world. I never knew, in all honesty, I was very naive about where this would go, but it has done something that is greater than the sum of its parts.
And it happened so fast.
Yeah, days. It just took days. And the media everywhere has been proved to be absolute fools. You could not have made them look any dumber and have exposed their lies any deeper than just sending a trip.
You can't go back now.
No, it's done. The cat is out of the bag. And it's only that we've been banging on about this for a long time that people start to realise. And you're right, it needed a big influx of people.
But you know what? Nobody's happier than we are, because we're so sick of trying to sell this and just to like deaf ears. And now we're like,
come on, like, now that Scotland has turned up, and Sweden's going to have its chance.
You know what? Last time we were in the States playing football, actually, no, you know what? Last time we played the World Cup was in the States. So now we're back, and that was in the 90s, and now we're back. It's meant to be.
It's meant to be. It's fate. But people just don't realise and understand the scale and the way that Americans do things. And I think it can be boiled down to like this, right? Europe is kind of small, right? And it's cut up in all these different little countries. But America is so vast and huge and expansive that in essence, why would you build anything small when you've got that much space to occupy, right? Of course you're going to build a Walmart that's as big as a UK housing estate. Because why wouldn't you? Then you can fit all the stuff in that anybody's ever wanted.
But the funny thing is, it's always been seen as a bad thing. Like, everything is big, it's too much, too grand, everybody's like loud or whatever. But now, who's the loudest people? It's the Scottish people. And now the Americans are like, wait, what about the English fans, the Scottish fans? They're crazy. So now the Europeans are the crazy ones.
Exactly. So don't pretend like you are all like me.
You don't like a lot of people. That's what makes us proud when we see this video. Like, come on.
Exactly. Never mind the patriotism, right? This Tartan army has turned up. And the irony is that in the UK, we're not allowed to put up like big flags and stuff like that. Like, that's not really a thing here, because in certain places in the UK, actually, you can get in quite a lot of trouble for putting up a Scottish flag flag or put up the English flag. People are just proud of where they're from, and it's so nice to see that a blend of American patriotism and Scottish patriotism because they're not at odds with each other. They're just coexisting in this beautiful way that are complementing each other. Same will happen with Sweden. Same will happen with any country. And it was,
yeah, you see it in every country.
Yeah.
And actually, we saw this clip, and it was just like 4 different countries waving their flags and an American police in the middle just dancing.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that is the essence of this topic of this video, is that we've just been sitting there, our feeds are just filled with the Scottish and all the different fans from all over the world, and we're like, look, Emily, this is how it's supposed to be.
And you know what we're hoping? That all of this will still be there when we get there, because we're only there in 2.5 weeks. So hopefully, maybe one of our teams are still there. We don't know, but if not, we'll still celebrate with everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're flying into Boston as a connecting flight. Yeah, it's pretty mad.
We had no clue.
But we're going to be late for the party, so
yeah, I know.
No Scotland go
Hopefully the airport will be like full of people.
Hopefully it'll be buzzing.
Yeah,
Let's see. But it's just it's a beautiful sight, and it makes us proud to be future Americans.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes me, I'm so proud of America for people seeing it finally what it is.
But also for me, it's mostly again about the hospitality, how all these crazy fans have been treated when they get there. People opening their doors, they're throwing barbecues, they say welcome, which is so nice. They're celebrating, and they're celebrating with them, which is so nice.
I just think this was destined to happen. Like, the time is right, the world is healing, the American patriotism, that fusion.
But you know what we've seen from like other countries when they had the World Cups in, it's not been seen as the same. They've been saying they're destroying the street, they're filling up the pub, they're being loud, they're being messy. I haven't seen any of that.
But that's the Tartan Army. People don't get this, right? And this is where I think we've got a really unique perspective. Is that people, the Tartan Army are a team of guys that are just patriotic Scottishmen. They will go there. They went to Trafalgar Square for a game, but a year and a half ago, partying in Trafalgar Square in central London till 5 or 6 a.m. the next day after the game, and they all went to the shop and they bought like trash bags, came back and cleaned everything up.
And that basically hit the news because they did not expect that to happen from football fans. They did not.
Yeah, and that's the essence of like what we like when we go places. We're respectful, we're kind.
I just hope that I love the Swedish football fans, right? But I hope that they will make as much noise as the Scottish. That would be amazing. I doubt it, but that would be so good to see.
Controversial take. Baseball and rounders, similar rule set, but
sort of.
Is it based on?
We understand.
Tell us about the comments, right, please?
That's how I see it. That was making me understand it.
Yeah, I heard it was based on rounders, right? And I played a lot of rounders. I'm
It is cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. So it's basically rounders with extra hot dogs. Then I'm getting
and a bit more complicated rules. We're down.
The funniest thing that I saw, in my opinion, is all the American fast food places letting these Scottish people try different new foods, and their faces did. Honestly, it's reaction channel gold. Like, the people are eating things that they're just like, they're melting, the brains are melting in their skulls. They're like, what is this? Like, we've only got, you guys are deep frying this stuff, but it tastes of something.
Yeah, but not just that. It's all like the different types of like soups and stews and everything, like all different types, like how you cook the seafood, all the spices, everything. Which is also for us every time we go to the US, it's a food trip.
Yeah, always. I know the guy who said, let's play it in Boston at a drink. Whoever that guy is that said, let's put Scottish people in Boston and have it held there, I'll be your sir, because that combo is just absolutely unreal. With the Boston food scene and the way that the Bostonians are as people, and that's a place we've never been, but we'd love to go now. Like, honestly, like, that is thoroughly
what I'm looking forward to. So Sweden is playing in Texas, right? Can you imagine that combo? All the sweet experiences, like the Texas hospitality, the Texas food, they're gonna go loco.
We might have to dip in for that, Emily.
You know what? I'm trying to check if we're still there or not.
Oh my god, dude, if we're still there, we're definitely gonna have to dip in. Yeah, oh my god. Jesus.
Yeah,
Right, let's go. Okay, question time. If there was one place in America that you could take 20, 30,000 people of any nationality,
I think we could say one state and one city.
Yeah, one state and one city. You could take 20, 30,000 people and put them in so that they would experience America for what it truly is. Where is it? We want your answer in the comments. Tell us where it is. Because we want to go. Because we want to go. Yeah, we want to showcase it and show it on the channel. I think Boston's done an amazing job of showing what America's really like, but it would be so good to see where else it is. I'm sure you guys have the knowledge.
There's so many more cool places.
Yeah, and that's where you're watching from, etc. Because we want to know. We want to discover America. Like, for us, it's with eyes unclouded with judgment, but with true love.
You guys know the best.
Yeah, so let us know. Get your answers down there.
And also the future, like tourism, going to America. Everybody want to go now.
And it's the media in Europe portrays America as this absolutely insane place where it's just bang bang up problems and this and issues. Yeah, and it's not true. Like, we've travelled extensively in the States, and we know that there is no friendly people in the world. There is no greater degree of hospitality we've ever experienced.
But also not just that, we travelled so many other different countries. We travelled so much in Europe, but we still prefer to go to the States.
By contrast, exactly. So by contrast, it's the friendliest place in the world I've ever visited. And I think by the last count I checked, we've done about 80 countries. So I've travelled personally to 83 countries.
And I'm done
yeah, something similar. So, you know, we know from perspective across Western Europe, Eastern Europe, there's nowhere like it. And it blew our minds and took so long for us to adapt to understand it wasn't this cold, harsh place like Europe can be. And when we went there, slowly but surely, America's done it.
Not just that, when it comes to food culture, I can't stop saying it, but we've been told that it's just fast food, no good food, massive portions, taste like nothing. The opposite.
The opposite. It's important to remember, like, what we experienced in US media and like the UK and stuff, we just never said like Grand Theft Auto. Even Grand Theft Auto was made by a British company, right? They were based in Edinburgh, Rockstar Games, and their idea of America was Grand Theft Auto, right? So when we grew up, all we've seen is craziness, the violence. This is not true, right? This is not what's happening in America. Then you go there and it's the chillest place in the world. Everybody's super friendly, and that doesn't penetrate the European media.
There's so many people missing out on actually experience America and the culture of what actually is, because people obviously see that and get scared of like, ooh,
I shouldn't go. But it's your ancestors, your European ancestors went there, and they say like in Europe and the media, oh, America doesn't have any culture, but it does. It has every culture in the world because America is this giant melting pot of every culture.
Yeah, so many countries and food cultures, and that's why it's like next level.
Like, we've been walking down the street before, and house after house in neighbourhoods in Tennessee, you see a USA flag hanging out in the front porch, and right next to it, across the other side of the house, you have an Irish flag. You walk down, then you've got an American flag, and you've got the Fleur de Lis, the New Orleans flag, then you go down, you've got the Lion Rampant flag, the Scottish flag, then you've got the German and French, the Swiss. We've seen neighbourhoods that have literally decided that they're going to post their nationalities on the front of post their nationalities on the front of their house and tell you that American first, the first thing you see, next thing you see.
Jeez, what's going on with the internet? I mean, the VPN, of course.
Is a sub-nationality, like, from where they descended from. That's right, and we just do not have that in the UK. But America, they're not scared, and that makes me so happy to the bottom, to my core. You have no idea, like, the joy I feel when I see Americans celebrate the patriotic nature. Like, I love it, and I love you guys, you make it almost.
Because we're foodies, and we love good food, and the amount of amazing food from these tiny little independent places within the US is insane. It's still at the top there, like the best food I've had in my life.
Sometimes it's just not one recipe, and it's like, you know,
simple,
food trucks,
but like great quality.
Unreal, and you don't have that diversity of food, and they can't out of the bag, and the media look like the fools that they are, because for decades, us in Europe have been lied to about what America is.
And how American people are.
Exactly, and we've been deceived. Like, it's sad, and it infuriates me, because I've been one of the only people that know, and you've been one of the only people I know, that when we see other America, people are like, oh, maybe I'll never see you again. Yeah, you know what, maybe you will never see me.
And not just that, but also why are you going there? Why don't you go somewhere else? And they're like, you know what, if you don't understand it, it's fine, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, and I just cannot wait to get America. I love America. Honestly, you've done the world.
I can't wait to go.
Yeah.
It just makes me think about all the things that the media made me believe about the state before I went to actually experience it myself. And like, yeah, the main one was that people were obnoxious, loud, didn't care about you, just care about themselves. The food would make you sick. It was also unsafe to go there. And
rubbish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's what we've been told.
We were fed that same nonsense, right? It's all by the European media, the British media. They want to make you think that this is the centre of the universe. I'll tell you this is a controversial point. I'm really sensitive to food. If I eat something that doesn't agree with me, it really can land me in a lot of like pain, a lot quickly. Am I like rheumatoid arthritis? And you want to see me about America? I used to actually feel loads better.
And that never happened to you.
Yeah, you never get like once a week here, I'll be paralysed because I ate something that's like chemicals in it, and that never happens to me ever in America. Not one time has it ever happened, which is crazy now that I think about it. That's wild. So they say all the negative chemicals in the foods, yeah, but they have it worse here in the UK. The standards for a lot of some of the foods that we get fed is ridiculously disgusting. Like, you would not believe some of the standards that are in place place here. You guys, and I know American people.
And also tasteless.
Tasteless. Yeah, tasteless. It's like we had watermelon the other day, and it was just water. There weren't any
But also, like, the spices that are used, like, here we love seafood, right? But there's never any flavour. There's no spices mixed in it the way you cook it. It's just a boiled shrimp.
Yeah, basically. So when we go to try and eat some like cuisine somewhere like seafood or whatever, it never hits. But then as soon as you go to America, you're like, okay, have some of this, and then you're like, what is happening? That's why it's so enjoyable to watch
And
this.
also because I'm a pickle girl, right? I love pickles. And when we went to a basketball game, and I looked to my right, and this guy sitting with a pickle this side, just munching away. I was like, wait, this is my
As soon as we get to this stage, as soon as we get there, we're getting Grelos
I can
pickles.
just have a snack.
Just eat pickle. Yeah, as soon as we get there, we're getting Grelos pickles. Right, and we're going pickle crazy in Tennessee. It's happening. There's pickle beer. I can't wait to try the Grelos pickle beer. Pickle beer.
Yes, that's where I had my first pickle martini. Didn't know that was a thing.
I had I call it redneck martini. Like, you know, I get to say that I'm a redneck, basically like I'm a redneck engineer. You have no idea how much stuff I have to tape together with duct tape and cable ties. Right, it's my special skill. I can fix anything. I can do anything with duct tape and cable ties. No, that's just long enough for you to not be injured. That's all I've been asked today. But we're so excited to come back. If there's anything that we missed in terms of like foods, we'd love to know what we should be trying in Tennessee.
Anything random to try because our palates are very open. Let's say.
Yeah,
We love everything.
definitely up for whatever. So any comments, suggestions about our trip, and I would love to like run a bet in the comments, right? Okay, so here's the challenge. Right, this is the video challenge. What do you think are the chances of Scotland versus America, or is America still in the World Cup? Yeah. Right. Okay, so America versus Scotland, or Scotland versus Sweden, or Sweden versus America. What do you think are the chances of either one of those three being a matchup? And I hope that we're there to watch some of it. Honestly,
I'm really
crazy.
We're bringing up football shirts.
Put your bets in the comments. Yeah, we're running football shirts all the way there. So put your bets in the comments about who's going what matchups you see happening. I'd love to hear what your opinions are. And again, if you have never been here before, I'm Paul. This is Emily, and we are sharing our journey moving to Tennessee and exploring the rest of the United States. Tennessee is going to be our base, and we're just going to trek all about the United States and go crazy adventures and share it here on the channel. Plus your opinions and our thoughts.
And you guys are going to be with us in this amazing
the whole journey. And if you want to have extra, like up-to-date current contact with us, we've got Patreon, completely free. There's anything to join, and it's a super good way for us to keep in contact when we meet up or we go places. Because we want to meet you guys. We don't want to just be stuck behind the screen. We want to be friends with you people. This is what we created this channel for. Is to build like a group of friends and a group of people that we can share our experiences with. So don't be strangers. Get on the Patreon.
Holy, that's nice. Hmm. Very nice. Yeah, that's all. Double check those links. Oh yeah, I actually added this one. Check it right after. Let me see the normal speed. From the stadium.
ولما راح يهجم منتخبنا بهاي الجهة.
Man, this sucks.
يهجم منتخبنا بهاي الجهة. ما أعرف شنو هالحظ اللي عندنا. كارثة هاي.
I wish there were more camera angles, because something still tells me this is just AI. It has that AI vibe to it, you know. Just, you know. Oh well. Like 2 different angles, lighted different. But the AI-ish video, even though it probably isn't. But if it is, well. Let me check again. I forgot this somehow. Saying the guy Rex worst. What? I skipped on this one. Fuck. Worst, but very clear. Token.